What's up, Max?
What's up? We're
here.
Yeah.
Jake is supposed to join us at some point. Probably him. He'll probably join us when we're done, knowing him. But with that said, I think we're just not even gonna get chitty chat too much. We're just gonna get on right with this because this time we're really not gonna do a long podcast. Your girlfriend, we're gonna show your girlfriend that we can do this in a steady amount of time.
Yeah.
You on with that? Tell her start that timer because we're about to start that intro. Boom.
Nitro is the glory, but e-buggy pays the bills. Welcome to the No Name RC podcast. Get ready for some serious bench racing. But be warned, we speak our minds, express our thoughts, and sometimes things can get a little rowdy.
Hate, and he just was influenced by the hate coming from the left, the hate coming from the right.
And let's get back to more club racing and less of this grabbing racing.
It's hard not to be arrogant when you're always right. You know?
See what I mean? That's exactly why people call you arrogant, Max.
You may not agree with everything we say, but it's definitely worth a listen.
And our pick, can you stop whatever you're doing?
Join your host, Lefty the Great, with co-hosts and guests as they get together to chat RC.
Hey, after that race that I watched this morning, I have to talk about it.
Here we go. $100 right here, $100 throw. Oh no! I like this.
Yes, indeed. Nitro's the glory, but e-buggy pays the bills. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode number 280. That's right, 280 of the No Name RC podcast. I'm your host, Keno White, aka Lefty the Great, and to my immediate retro left is Maximus Mortimus, professor of everything, Arrogant Max, and now new nickname that was given to you the other day by one of our YouTube commenters, Monotone Max.
Monotone? You can't say I'm monotone when Jake is on this podcast.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, this guy has not heard JQ. You know what I said? Have you ever heard Kimi Räikkönen give an interview or talk?
Yeah. I'd say like for a fucking Finnish version, I'm quite non-monotone. Like even my girlfriend said I'm quite passionate in my talking. But he said I kind of sound like JQ because we was watching one podcast where he was on. So
you can when you get into science mode, but when I've talked to like Pekko, Yuna, Ari, maybe not so much, Ari team manager. But all the Finnish guys that I'm talking to are very like, yes, no, maybe.
Yeah. Oh, and it's Arto, the team manager is Arto, I think.
Arto team manager, that's right. Arto team manager, nice guy, likes beer. All right, Max, welcome back to the podcast. We probably are getting demonetized already because you used the F-bomb right in the first 10 seconds of our podcast.
Oh,
maybe not.
Yeah, you gotta bleep it out. You gotta bleep it out, dude.
No, just say it again. Fuck.
Fernando Alonso signs with Aston Martin. Just popped into my phone.
Didn't he not have a ride all this time?
Not for next year.
Oh. Orlando's just not giving it up. You know, I want to be like Orlando when I grow up. That's all I got to say. He's awesome. He's badass. All right, everybody. Welcome to new show number 280. Max, we're 20 away from 300. I think we need to do a big 300 celebration. We did hit some milestones over the last 2 weeks. It's good to be back home here in my studio. It's nice and comfortable. I'm super happy to be here. But before we get on, What
are we going to do for podcast 420?
Well, you're in the forest, so I don't know what you're going to do.
Yeah, I think like we have to, we're only like 140 away. We have to already start planning.
That's quite a long time away. That's probably 2 years to a year and a half of podcasts away.
Well, at this rate, yeah. Last year we was going full speed because we was releasing 2 a week.
Yes. Well, travel would do something with that. But but this time we did do some travel podcasts, so that was great. Which I'm figuring out how to do easily. But before we do that on everybody, and we really get into the jibber jabber of show 280, I'd like to say thank you to all of the YouTube members for the, all of the NNRC squad around the world. Without you guys, we can't do this. Shout out to all of you guys. Shout out to our YouTube members and our Patreon. You guys will get early release. Have a special treat for the patrons coming up here. And NNRC guys, you will get early release very soon, maybe later today, maybe tomorrow, of the infamous, everybody's been asking it, Ty Tessman podcast. So working on that. Just got to put an intro and outro on that. Also, if you wish to become a patron or YouTube member, links for that in the written description of this podcast. Helps us out. It really helps us out, man. Go join us up on the YouTube. Go join us on the Patreon. If you like what we're doing, you want to support us financially, you can. If you ain't familiar with Patreon or YouTube, it's just, hey, that's what it is. You're a patron. You get early access. We're trying to work on that a little bit better with Patreon and YouTube as well. Also, we'd like to say thank you to these companies. If you wish to support the podcast some more, go to our written description and find the links for these companies. We have affiliate links. We have coupon codes. If you don't have any of that, we do have links, and you can just say, hey, I heard about you on the No Name RC podcast. They are Invisible Speed, Hitec RC, CorsaTec USA, SideWinder Fuel, Mayako, Beach RC, Tekno RC, Clinic RC, Stacked RC, Racecraft USA, the RC Box Club, Call RC, 10% off with code NNRC, Elite RC Production, shout out to them. They are down in Mills Pond this weekend, as well as Florida RC Championships for the third round of Florida RC Championships. Talk more about that in a minute. RC Body Armor, my boy Gene Strout Jr., SJ Racing Builds for all your builds, House of RC, RCGP, David Ronnefalk. Oh, hold on. He's not a sponsor. He's a driver. Our drivers, David Ronnefalk, Robert Matty, Alexander Hackberg, Matty G, Pecco, Ivanen, Yuna Hotnen, Mason Fuller, and I think the Killicks are now going to be NNRC drivers. I gave them some shirts.
I got to fix something. It's not Ivanen. It's Ivanen. Okay? Ivanen. Okay?
Ivonen.
Yeah.
It's just
Ivanen in Finnish is like a small brain, you know?
Well, I just call them Pecco. Okay. It's okay. But shout out to those drivers. We greatly appreciate you guys' support. One of our drivers saw some victory at the PNB. That's what this podcast is all about this weekend. Psycho Nitro Blast and some other stuff. JQ is supposed to grace us with his presence at some point within this. Who knows? It'll probably be at the end of this podcast. He might be out there making some videos. We'll see what happens. All right, Max. Quick. I would like to say some shout outs to some people. Happy birthday, Reggie Tung, long time RC racer, former NFL player. Happy birthday to you. Just as I say that, look who pops up. JQ. Shout out to, he just showed up. Shout out to my good friend, happy Yo Joe birthday to Marquise Butler. He is a fellow G.I. Joe fan. Shout out to Aiden Cotu down there in Florida, Steve Pates, Everett Davenport. And I know there's a bunch of birthdays that I did miss. I do apologize for that. We're kind of on the behind the 8 ball here. A big shout out to my friend John Kurz for the special donations for the upcoming waffles that we're doing. We got some cool things coming up, some cool engines coming up for the Elite RC waffles that we're going to be doing here very shortly. And I want to say a big shout out to I met him at PNB last year. He's a very nice young man. He hangs out with Jerry Kleinbach, who I haven't met yet, but we talk quite often. He's mentoring this young man. Larry Wright IV, aka LW4, or as I'm calling him now, the Mullet Prince. He won, I believe, Sportsman Nitro Buggy last year at PNB. Moved up to intermediate this past year. And PNB is probably his biggest race that he does in Nitro. He's from up there, track slide up in Wisconsin, Scotty's Old Track. Shout out to those guys. He finished, made the A final intermediate. I think he finished 13th or 14th. I was talking to him. And a very nice young man. Got to hang out with Little Bump. I think he was giving Little Bump some mullet advice. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see Little Bump with a fashionable mullet at some point.
You can pull it up. Have you seen some of those Japanese pop stars or K-pop stars? They are rocking those mullets. I bet Little Bump would look fucking stylish on that one.
I had to, speaking of K-pop, I had to Google that to see what it was today.
K-pop. You don't know what K-pop is?
I had no idea what K-pop was.
Do you know what J-pop is?
No.
That's the same but Japanese.
Max, I didn't even know what Rudos was last time he was on her. That's about how much I pay attention to what's good. If it ain't RC, I'm not paying attention. But I have seen 1980s kung fu flicks and stuff like that, and all the Asian guys had mullets.
Jackie Chan
never had a mullet.
He was like my favorite. I absolutely loved his movies as a kid.
Bruce Lee was my favorite. And
I wasn't alive then, but Jackie Chan was a big thing when I was growing up.
Yeah, Jackie Chan's awesome. Jackie Chan's more of a acrobat comedian, and Bruce Lee was like badass.
Yeah, he was like a kung fu motherfucker.
Yes, he was. All right. You know what? We are gonna just, we gotta pay some bills, and one of the guys that pays our bills in the background right there is JQ, and his invisible speed thing is going on. He did a webinar yesterday. I tuned in with Ryan Lutz. Maybe we'll bring JQ in to talk about that real quick. I did tune in for a little bit, but this next part of the podcast is brought to you by Invisible Speed. We have affiliate links in the written description of this podcast. You can check them out, and helps the podcast out.
Stop scrolling. You want to be Lewis Hamilton? Learn something new with Invisible Speed. You can't do everything at 100% maximum speed. You have to be smooth. I mean, when you drive a real car, if you drive a real car, how do you just, when you get to a 90-degree corner to turn into the parking lot, do you go like that with the steering wheel? Do you like slam on the throttle and the brake? No. You probably turn the wheel smooth and get on the throttle smooth. Same thing with an RC car. If you want to learn more and make your speed visible, stop scrolling.
Stop scrolling. JQ, welcome. Oh, vice host.
What's up?
Hey, I'm actually surprised that you're here on time, somewhat. I was expecting to show up a little bit later. We are not to the part of the podcast that we kind of want you on, but it'd be good to have you here because we do have some topics to talk about that I would love to get your opinion on. But I tuned into Invisible Speed yesterday with Ryan Lutz. It was very good. You had some good questions. I didn't get to the end because I had to go. Yeah, man. How's things going with Invisible Speed? Seemed to have a good bit of people in there yesterday. I know you're doing something with Powell. I did record with him, JQ. After you left me yesterday, we went on for an hour and 20 minutes.
Okay,
so
nice.
It's probably going to have to be a whole podcast because it was supposed to only be a 20-minute section, and then we went on for 120 minutes. I mean, an hour and 20 minutes.
Put part of it as a segment. And then
I have to go edit that all up. I'm sorry, JQ. I've been busy. I have children. I have things to do. So sorry.
Okay.
Tell us a little bit about Invisible Speed.
Yeah, so we changed it up now because I got the feeling that the price was too much. People weren't buying the course. So we changed it now to 3-month access, $49 or euros. So hopefully that will encourage people to give it a try. And so far, so good. We'll have a bunch of new people signing up. And we have live meetings. Ryan Lutz is in many of them this year. And we'll have meetings throughout the summer now. And if you can't catch them live, they are in the course material. You can watch them whenever you have time. And of course, the normal videos are there too. So it's something that's constantly evolving.
So basically, you finally followed my advice, is what you're trying to say.
What's your advice?
I told you a long time ago to make it less money for less time.
You did?
Yeah.
Yes.
Thanks for that.
Yeah, I'm surprised you didn't. Max, hold on. It's 12:37. My iPhone has 99% charge, and JQ gave me.
No, but I don't understand. This is a common issue with Joseph. He doesn't understand why people, because he has this autistic mindset. So he understands if there's a number, he can calculate what that means for him. But normal people, if you tell him, hey, you get this for $20 a month, or then you say, hey, you get this for $200, even though the $200 is so much cheaper, they will pay the $20 because their mind just cannot comprehend this. This is basic economics. But Joseph's mind, it's not the same. So this,
you know what? We might have to. I forgot. We might have to have a little sparring session between you two because you two are kind of going at it.
Oh yeah, well. I responded to your comment about my feminist girlfriend and such on the last podcast. I don't know if you've watched it ever.
No, I haven't.
Okay, well,
you should play. Do you have it ready for me?
No, but I'll play it later on. I
can't actually. To be honest, I don't remember what I said either. So I would need a full briefing. What did I say? What did Max?
Basically, you said, I said we needed to have an intervention for Max because he's now talking about e-buggies with the glory, and he was talking about titanium nuts for 15 minutes. And he said, of course he is, because he has a feminist vegan girlfriend, and of course he's going to be all about the environment now, and he thinks that nitro mess up the environment. But Max rebutted you by saying he thinks that lipo batteries are actually worse for the environment than nitro.
Yeah.
So why does he support electric then?
Because he wants to get kicked off the podcast.
Well,
because
you gotta
noise,
listen to my
noise pollution.
Because of that's a real thing, but
it is definitely some hippie reason.
No, it's because it's easier. It's more accessible.
Yeah, it is easier for people to start. I think e-buggy should be.
And I think by laws of the capitalist world where everything has to evolve into faster and easier, and I pay you to do my work type of thing. No one's gonna pit for someone for fun. They gotta get paid for it, and no one's gonna be able to do that. And then everyone will change to electric, and then the pros have to adapt, and that then will be electric, thanks to the capitalist culture. And then everyone thinks, why did this happen?
Wow.
Yeah, I'm just
the Padawan has now become the master, and he is now sparring against his master.
Oh, by the way, now that Joseph's here, we released our NPC Proggy yesterday to our NPC members. Not like official.
Really?
We have everything ready. So if you're an NPC member, you might get a Truggy this year.
Ooh.
Well,
we don't know. You know, JQ is an e-buggy and Truggy specialist. So.
Oh, and by the way, I have to say this. Joseph was like this to me. Please, can you design a Truggy? I couldn't care less. A few months go by. I'm like, hey, can you send me some of the CAD so I can get started? I make him like shock towers and stuff. And I'm like, okay, here's all the correct measurements. A few weeks go by. I hear nothing. Then a month goes by. And I'm like, hey, have you done any progress? This man has drawn on CAD a whole Truggy on his own, not even requested. I'm like, hey, should we just do hubs? He's like, no, I want to do knuckles. I want to do like everything new because it's Truggy. It's so special. I want to make a specific built Truggy for my Akko. So this guy went from I couldn't care less about Truggy to spending the last 2 months modeling Truggy here and there. I ended up didn't really model that much. I just told him what to draw.
All right, so this is going right into our catch-up part of the podcast.
The thing is that but Max drew the shock towers and knew the measurements of everything, like the arms and offset for hubs and all that stuff. Like that's the hard work, to figure out the actual size and geometry of everything and what to do. And then when you know that, it's kind of easy. If you have, for example, I have a knuckle and a rear hub, and we just change the measurement and done, basically, for some of the parts. So, and then I did draw different shock towers. You were sad about that, Max. I'm sorry. But needed to make them on a brand, So
I thought mine was more on brand for the front one. The rear one with yours was better.
You think?
Yeah, I think the front one. But
maybe.
Either way, they look nice. If you join
we have a Truggy.
You can see all that. Yeah.
Well, so JQ, why aren't you running Truggy at Silver State?
Well, it
your best
doesn't
class.
exist in reality yet. Yeah.
There's plenty of Truggies you can use.
I mean, he has everything to build a Mayako one too. Yes,
Degani offered his Tekno Truggy also, but I said no. I don't want to run Truggy.
All right. Well, let's get on to our catch-up. Right, let me say right off the bat, because I'm back. I got back at Monday night about 11 o'clock after spending 2 beautiful weeks in Portugal. A big shout-out to all the Portuguese people out there in the Figueiredo family for all their support. It was fun. I had a lot of fun with Joao, with Jose, Ricardo Montero, who I got to really sit off and talk to. So Ricardo goes, hey, Lefty, I saw you recorded a podcast. I was like, yeah, I'm using this tiny little hotel in there. So I stayed in Barcelonas this time, JQ, across the bridge for the second week I was there in a top hotel. It was small, but very nice. And he goes, I did not know this about Ricardo Montero because we got to really know each other and talk a lot. He was like, you got to just come to the studio. I'm like, you have a studio? So he's an esports manager, producer for an esports team in Portugal. and they have a full-fledged studio right there in Barcelos that I could have used.
Okay.
So I did not know about that. That was cool. He does League of Legends and what was the other game I said, Max? Varian or something like that?
Valorant.
Valorant. That's it. So he manages that, lives right there. They have a full studio. So the next time I go to Barcelos, I'll be there, which I'm told I'm coming to Barcelos 3 times next year.
Who did you say is doing this?
Ricardo Monteiro.
Monteiro. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I really I've talked to him, but I really sat off and talked to him quite a lot. But yeah, Jose says, be prepared. You're coming back to Barcelona 3 times next year.
For what? IBC?
IBC, Euros warm up. So that's one race. Euros, and then e-buggy Worlds.
Yeah. Wait. What Euros are there next year?
The Fuel.
HCL Off-Road.
World? Nationals? World?
Really?
Euros?
I know. We talked about this with we talked about this with Keenan on the last podcast. So
oh my God.
Instead of... Okay, so hear me out. This is the reality we live in. 2022, we have Euros at IBC or Barcelos and Worlds at Redovan. Okay. 2023, we have Euros at Redovan. Okay. Nothing at Barcelos. 2024, we have Worlds at Redovan, and then Chile, which was the Euros in 2019. And then 2025, we have Euros and e-buggy Worlds at Barcelos.
So wait.
So we are basically rotating these 2 tracks for the last 4 years.
Can we run 25% fuel at in Portugal now?
No.
You can, but you need a license.
No, wait, for the Euros. Because wasn't that... Oh, that's an Ifmar rule. That was for the Worlds. They were
yeah.
Like,
so hold on. We're going to talk about that. We're getting ahead of ourselves. That is one of our topics that we are going to talk about. So calm your tits, JQ and Max. Okay? You guys may be Jedi Masters, but I am a Grand Master. I'm a fat Yoda.
I would say Jabba the Hutt, though. You're more like Jabba the Hutt.
I knew you was going to. You know what? There was a Jedi Hutt, by the way.
Really?
It was pretty badass.
Jabba the Hutt.
No, there was a Hutt that was actually a Jedi, and he was pretty badass.
Is Robert's kid now Baby Yoda?
No, it's Niels. His name is Niels.
But Robert is like, what's Robert? Does he have
Neil, not Niels.
Is it really Neil?
It's Nils.
No.
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes.
He never said S. He has never said S on the end of that.
Anyway, you know, being as you heard, JQ, we do have a little bit. Okay, so JQ's going to Silver State. We know that he's going to meet up with Dagani. Dagani finally got him to go there. I'm trying to get Max to come with me to the Worlds in September to do NNRC content. He needs to get the okay from his boss. We'll talk more about that in the future, but we're going to do some NNRC content, maybe a collaboration with Elite RC, trying to get Danny out there as well. But in other news, you know, I want to give a little shout out to the No Name RC podcast. As you guys know, one of my goals was to reach 10,000 Instagram followers on Instagram, and I reached that goal actually last week. I might have talked about it, but since then it's gone up to 15,000. And it was from this one viral video. Jake is going to hate it. Well, semi-viral video of Joao Figueiredo going around the track in the rain, muddy, slippery rain track at IBC with e-buggy. And so congratulations. Thank you. We got to 15,000 followers on Instagram. We also crossed another threshold on YouTube, and that was 5,000 subscribers on YouTube. So thank you everybody that went out there and subscribed. We passed that last week. Next up, 10,000. Hopefully we can get there. It's a grind. The YouTube thing was a grind, especially with these long podcasts. And already we are off to a bad start of trying to keep this short. Also, a big shout out to my buddy Tony Firth. He sent this message. He is actually from the RC Race Media team in Australia, and they did a charity RC race called the Herbie Derby event down there in Australia. And basically, it's a special fundraising event to benefit the variety of children's charity. It's the children's charity. The event was organized by a lady named Paula, who runs a full-size Herbie, number 53. If you're not familiar with Herbie, It's the love bug from the 1960s, 70s movies. I'm sure you've heard of Herbie, right, JQ?
Yes.
Have you heard of Herbie? They're Pippi Longstocking.
Am I Pippi Longstocking?
You are Pippi Longstocking.
It's funny because, you know, the name is different for us. It's Pippi Longstocking.
All right, but have you heard of Herbie, Pippi?
I don't know, because the name is different in Finnish. But I've seen the movie about.
Okay, it's various movies. Various movies.
Yeah, I know that one.
Various movies.
But the name is different in Finnish. I can't now remember what it is. But
okay,
it's a different name.
So this is her 10th year of being involved in the Variety Charity Bash, and they offer a number of different. It's quite famous in Australia, and they offer a number of different events like Postie Bike Dash. It says to get accepted into a variety motoring event, you need to raise a certain amount for the variety charity. Typically, fundraising events are golf days, trivia nights, but Paula came up with the idea for RC racing. Our thinking was to let the sponsors and participants be kids again, and what a better way to do this than an RC car. Last year, Paula approached the Pine Hills Dirt Nitro PDNR, which I believe is Zach's track as well. I could be wrong.
Isn't this the one that's going to hold the Worlds?
No, it might be, which is my home club with the idea to use an RC car race as her charity fundraiser event. She came up on a Tuesday night, the PDNR race every Tuesday night on a temporary car park track, and she loved what they saw. So this was a car park track. We also loved the idea of the Herbie Derby RC race and jumped at the opportunity. The PNRD helped facilitate everything for the RC event. They took our track to the venue. So this is ONROAD. It sounds like it set up a little track, timing, etc., provided mechanics and helped get all the cars on track, provided marshals and driver coaches, had a mini workshop to charge batteries and carrying out running repairs. Paula sourced the trucks, which were little 1/16 scale RTR trucks. They were perfect for a bunch of newbies to race on. Paula was hoping to see 10 trucks, and she ended up selling 35. The sponsor supported the Herbie Derby by pre-purchasing an RC car. Then they turned up on the day and presented with their RC car, which Paula had painted to match the company or business. The format we adopted was simple. We had 90 minutes of open practice, and sponsors and participants arrived and went out and got some practice. They did 3 separate 10-minute finals, which were using RC qualifying format, so the driver who did the most laps would be the winner. But Paula used her discretion to tweak the final results. After the RC race, there was a presentation and dinner with entertainment and etc. The Herbie Derby RC race raised over 20,000 Australian dollars for variety, and then raised another 10K on the night of the auction. It was hugely entertaining afternoon. Everyone I spoke to said it was the first time they had ever driven an RC car. The sponsors got to keep their car after the event, so we were hoping to see some at the PDNR in the near future. So good job. Congratulations to those guys. It's always good to see RC raising money for charities, but also getting new people into RC. So good job, Tony Firth and those guys. They will be headed out to the Philippine Masters next week. All right, guys, time to get onto some high-tech news. And this week's news is brought to you, obviously, by Hitec. Hitec is coming in strong and in charge in 2024 with the introduction of our new suite of new chargers, the RDX2 200, the RDX2 800, and the RDX 4. Depending on your charging needs, Hitec has you plugged in with the power, multiple port flexibility, and the ultimate reliability you require. You can find links to where to buy your Hitec stuff in the written description below. Thank you, Hitec, for all your support. All right, Max. So up first in our news, Oh, we forgot our topics, by the way. Keenan's lawyers are sweating me 24/7 and Psycho Nitro Blast. I forgot to say that. I skipped all past that.
I mean, I think it's quite obvious we're going to talk about the
all right, so let's talk about this. I'm glad you heard, JQ, because now we can get into some of the nitty-gritty of this podcast. So last week, let me put this here so you can see it a little bigger. Last week, we talked about the insolvency with HB. We looked at some of the website stuff that we had, all public knowledge. And then suddenly, less than a week later, all HB people got this email. So I guess do you want me to read it or do you want to read it, Max? Or I can read it.
I can read. It's okay. So The headline is important updates and clarifications regarding HB Racing and Team Orion Europe SA, which is the two companies we was talking about last time on the podcast. And it starts out with the greetings. I'm going to skip that, but this is the meat of the message. So over the last quarter, several significant developments have occurred. Firstly, it is important to announce that Team Orion Europe SA has officially taken over the business operations of Neidhart SA. So this is in result of Neidhart SA being liquidated. And then they continue with this strategic move is aimed at enhancing our service delivery and operational efficiency. Additionally,
stop. Okay, let's translate that sentence.
Yeah, I was going to do it after, but I think it's good to just stop me.
Hold on. Time out. Before we do any translation. What? Disclaimer.
What?
The views and words about to come out of everybody's mouth here do not represent the NNRC, and we do not want to cease and desist. My lawyers have advised me to be very careful as we tiptoe around this topic.
Okay, this is my opinion. Okay, this is based on nothing, just I pulled it out of the air. So the translation for this sentence is that because we owed a lot of money and we were bankrupt, then we switched over to now another company that doesn't owe any money. So this way we can still continue with our business, selling RC cars and that stuff. Like this allegedly just a theory, my opinion, but whatever.
Yeah, so basically, they have relocated to a new facility that better suits their growing needs and ambitions in the industry.
Okay, stop. Let's translate again. Hey, stop moving us. You're covering the text. Lefty, move us away so I can see the text.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Okay, stop it. Okay.
No, stop.
So additionally, we have relocated to a new facility that better suits our growing needs and ambitions in the industry. I would I think a better and more accurate way to describe this is that we have moved because we couldn't afford or had to sell or something similar to this. We have moved to a more affordable place to continue our business.
Yeah, in some languages,
that's.
I think actually in some languages growth can be becoming bigger, and it can also be negative growth. So I think they have kind of used growth very freely here to reference that they have moved to a smaller place.
I mean, we don't know where they moved, but in theory, they could have moved to an old barn in a field because it's new to them and growth can going in either direction. I'm not saying they did that, but I'm just saying we would need some more information to be really able to determine what happened here. But I am quite, I am, let's say, I have a hunch that when your company goes bankrupt and you move, it's out of necessity. That it's just a theory I have. And probably you move to a place which is more affordable than your previous place. Anyway, interesting choice of words there.
Yeah, I think it's funny because it's so obvious. They effectively liquidated all of the assets of Neidhart SA, sold them to Team Orion with most likely below market price or nothing, and then
for a euro.
And then the debt will be paid by Swiss banks. Luckily for the Swiss people, they are not very. They don't have.
I just want to say that we talked about this, and you was 100% right about this last week, Max. But continue because there's some not funny stuff in her too. We don't want to joke about the health.
I think. Yeah, I don't want to. I don't want to.
Max said about
don't
the
say
debt.
Anything dumb.
We know for a fact that HB owed their drivers money travel and salaries and this kind of stuff. Are they getting that, or will they ever get that?
So I did hear that Cole got paid like in a lump sum near the end of the year.
Yeah, but he had also an official employee contract. This is my assumption, because everyone else was owed travel money.
Hold on, I heard something about that too. So continue.
Because it's very different. Because if you don't pay your employee, then that's very different legally than don't paying some travel money. You know.
Exactly.
Okay,
I had somebody message me saying the same thing that you said, Max.
Yeah.
All right. So the not so good part here is about Mr. Felipe Neidhart. Is that I heard that he had a heart attack.
Yeah. So he writes here that, however, it's with a heavy heart that I must also share a personal health challenge. I experienced a heart attack, which unavoidably caused delays in our supply chains, and organizational operations. Yeah,
I'm glad that is okay. That's not a joke about somebody having a heart attack.
Yeah, I do understand. Having all this going at once kind of makes this much more difficult for them. But yeah, I think this part, the first part we read, there was some maybe
colorful words,
words,
lawyer jargon.
But I think what he writes here is kind of the more honest part, which is they probably weren't doing that well financially, and then he also on top of that had health issues. And I think at the end of the day, let me read this to the end. He's healthy. He's made a full recovery, and he's back in it. He wants to start afresh, and they are transitioning to the new location and effectively restructuring under the Team Orion Europe SA. And yeah, they effectively, he says that they are now starting with a fresh start. I went to their website today, and they had already released some updates to HB Racing products, their pictures,
new 10 scale cars or something too as well.
Yeah, but I think like now being like more fair to HB, like obviously we joke about all that business jargon and colorful words and stuff, but at the end of the day, like I do believe Neidhart has been kind of passionate about RC, at least in some sense, for quite a while. And I think this kind of gives them a new start, because I think with all this transition in the late 2000s, and then all what went down with HPI and hiring a lot of drivers back in the day and growing much bigger than realistically they were. I think they're back now to where HB Racing should have been for a while now. And I think, COVID kind of made the inevitable collapse of the business corporation much quicker, and now they are kind of starting afresh. I do feel bad for those people who had worked their whole life at Orion, like Oscar Janssen, who basically is the whole man behind that brand. Luckily, he's on to new adventures. I hope he does well there. But at least Philip can have some sort of starting afresh for his later years in his career. So I do feel good for that, and I do feel HB has a place in RC, but also
I think it's too late. I think it's also I heard from dealers that they are supposed to get parts and kits available to them in April. Once again, I just want to reiterate, the joking part is about the business side. We literally talked about this last week and exposed it all, and I can't believe if in less than a week they have a response. So once again, the podcast done something good again.
I don't know if you had anything to do with it. I'm sure they would have done something anyway.
Yeah, but it's quite a coincidence that less than a week. So there's two coincidences in this situation. One was a dealer who got a notice from the Swiss courts or Swiss debt collection that he owed $4,000. He was not able to get in contact with anybody at HB.
Yeah, but
hey, Let us have our shine. Let us have our shine.
When a company is in whatever those insolvency proceedings or whatever,
yes, I understand
of course they check the books and they see, oh, this customer hasn't paid this, and if so it's nothing like
guess what?
nefarious.
The person had paid. The person had paid.
Yeah, okay. So there was a mistake in the fucking information. It's very simple.
Can I finish and you shut the fuck up for a second?
Yeah, but the way you approached it was like, oh, HB is suing this guy and whatever, and you sent me the info, and I was like, this is nothing. Go to bed.
No, but guess what? We posted it up on the Patreon, and finally, that dealer was able to get his emails answered.
I'm on this kind of on the side of Keenan, but he always approaches these things like, Alex Jones, like in reality, Alex Jones talked about the frogs being gay. Okay. In reality, in America, they use this type of mineral or what you call it, like fertilizer. That's called atrazine. This atrazine fucks with the reproductive system of frogs. The frogs effectively lose their gender, okay? And in Europe, this fertilizer, atrazine, is banned, okay? Alex Jones put this all together and said they're turning the freaking frogs gay, okay? So I think this is between, like, I'm telling the reality, okay? HB is in insolvency, this is what's happening, and Keenan's like, oh no, this is happening, and I exposed it, that type of shit. So I think, but in reality, I mean, Alex Jones wasn't that wrong. The frogs effectively were turning gay because they didn't separate females from males because their reproductive system was fucked. But that's not really
what a great way to compare this. But let's get serious. Let's talk about what do we think the future of HB is going to be. Go ahead, Max. You said it. You everything that you said is come to fruition so far.
Yeah, that's what it is, being, so good, the professor of everything, and what else titles I have. It's kind of
humility is not in your book. Must learn that from JQ.
No,
you're kind of off camera too. Come in the center.
Yeah, I need to come. Yeah, okay. I do think they are having a fresh start. I don't think HB has been profitable in a long, long time, but Team Orion has been profitable for a long time, I'd say. So, and that's 100% thanks to their very large RTR battery business.
Which you said last week as well.
I said last week. And I think this is why they transferred it to Orion, because that's probably the only profitable company from their corporation. So I do think HB will do some, corporate restructuring, which is effectively cutting everything that's at a loss and hoping that the whole thing doesn't collapse, and then see if there's room to grow. Luckily for them, their car is good. I think the biggest thing is who is their designer, like who makes the decisions of the cars. Because clearly, if Cole Ogden, almost everyone from the team except Mason Fuller says that the new car is bad, and they still keep with the new car.
I don't think Mason Fuller had the new. Remember, he said never had the old car.
Yeah, that's the thing. Mason Fuller was the only one who never ran the old car. Also, he's the guy who said he doesn't really care how his car runs. He just drives it. And everyone else in the team last year said that they like the old car better. Everyone in Europe keeps contacting me like, oh, I have the new HB. It sucks. I went to the old one. So I think if their designer or whichever team just stubbornly keeps with this new platform and doesn't, because let's be honest, they put some new gearboxes on that thing, remold a few plastic parts, and keep the geometry from the previous model, the D819 RS. They're good. Their car is better than TLR, better than probably Sparko and these cars that are really competing with them. It's just
still a very popular car in lots of areas around the world.
And they are like a multiple-time world champion. They have the brand. They have everything to do good, and they don't necessarily need to hire like a good designer. They could just go back to their old stuff that worked. So it's it depends who is on board with the deciding. I don't know if Torrance is involved. I have to say Torrance, like, probably a big influential designer in the past, but living in Philippines, not really driving that much.
He's in America now, apparently.
He's back in America. Okay, yeah. But I do think since Tessmann's left, HB's development has kind of stopped. You know,
he actually talks about his part in HB's development in the soon to be released Patreon Ty Tessmann interview. All right, Joseph.
Oh, Tessmann. Okay, yeah.
Joseph.
Yeah, but I think they don't really.
I'm gonna have to watermelon seed you. Yeah. I'm gonna have to watermelon seed you because you're going on, and we were gonna be 3 hours here if we keep it in this.
Yeah.
JQ, your thoughts on what happens with HB now?
Don't know, don't care, don't give a damn.
Quick and easy. I'm pretty sure that we are definitely even more so on HB's naughty list after this podcast. I think that the car stays popular in certain areas around this HB diehards who like it. I think they need a new car because a lot of these people want quick access diffs. We talk about that. We talk about the shims and stuff like that. You know, needing a whole bunch of shims for the rear diff and all that there. With so many chassis manufacturers in RC right now, it's very different from what it used to be. And I mean, we've seen this happen with HB a few times where they run out of parts and they run out of kits. And basically it's owing money to the factory to replace this. So I don't know what's going to be different now. Maybe less drivers to pay. So maybe they're more effective.
Like the amount of drivers HB had in late 2010s is insane.
But they also give very, very good deals out. Like extremely good.
Yeah, but that's on the American end. That's different because that's on the American distribution.
But back then they didn't own HB. It went all those drivers and everything was, I think, before they owned it. But what I was going to say is that the industry is really difficult. I mean, for the racing side, like if you have a racing brand.
Yes.
And it's been that way for, I don't know, for 15 years at least now.
And it's worse now.
And there was like a 10-year period there. About 10-year period from, let's say, 2000 to 2010, approximately. That was really good. And then after that, it's been really difficult. And part of that is because the manufacturers started making brands and cars and everything for everyone, where before there were much fewer brands. So those fewer brands were able to have a good market size and make money. And then when all these different brands like JQ Racing and all these jokes of brands, everyone thought they can make something themselves. When they started popping up, the market didn't really grow. Everyone's slice just got smaller. And that's kind of what we are still struggling with. So unless that changes, I don't see how the situation will change, because I don't think that the industry as a whole is going to grow a lot. So now we have brands that they make their money somewhere else, play around in racing, or small kind of boutique brands, you could say, who do okay, but they can never do something, big because they are small.
Yeah, and now there's even more brands than what it was 10 years ago. So it's even harder. That is
about the same.
Yeah, it's a great segue into our next topic, which is Infinity. Finally, are you gonna bring it up, or you want to bring it up, Max? I'll bring it up.
You can bring it up.
Infinity finally releasing their coming soon. I mean, this is all we got. But Jake, you touched on this when you was on her last. Your thoughts on this car? But Infinity finally gonna release their Nitro Buggy, I guess, or Nitro. Yeah. Whatever we are looking at.
Okay. I gotta. You talk about this, but I'll show you something in a bit.
So this is the advert on Facebook, by the way. We'll remove that because it's just a.
You talk about it. I need to show you something in a bit. I'm gonna search it up.
I mean, I think last time I just said that I wasn't impressed. Infinity has such a big budget and everything, and they could make something really cool and different and nice, but they made a car from 2004 or something, you know? So it's kind of disappointing in a way.
Yeah, you did say that. But I heard there's supposed to be some big plans for distribution in the USA with certain people and all this type of stuff, and how they're going to come in and buy all the drivers and all that type of stuff. I don't see that happening. No. I just don't see it happening.
No, I don't think it's going to go anywhere. To be honest.
Okay. All right. What about you, Max?
Okay. Can you bring the Infinity picture up again?
Okay.
Yeah. Let's take a good look at it.
You mean just the black square?
Yeah. Just the picture.
Okay. So there you go. Do you want me to zoom in on it or anything?
So you have this Infinity, very shady car, everything. And then, a brand that was released this year, their first image that they released. Okay.
This is going to trigger JQ.
So.
Why?
Well, I do think the Infinity and Sparko, effectively their whole thing is the same. They have a shady picture of the outline of the car, and then they have comics. So I think
they're copying Sparko's advertising tactics.
It's not copying. That's like the obvious first thing that comes to mind. Yeah. So everyone.
I mean, yeah, but like, I think just goes on the top of that, like how disappointing it is. Like,
oh gosh,
Sparko did as good advertisement than they had.
All right.
Yeah. Just
next
immediately
subject.
That.
Next subject on the list to talk about is the top 25 RC. Does anybody want to rant about this? It's not. You know what? The top 25 is getting people as triggered as possible.
They removed Thibaut and Tessman from the list.
Did they? I did not notice that.
I think they did.
Because they are retired?
Yeah, because there was like the first few lists of this year, they had both. They had both Thibaut and...
Oh, they're gone.
Thibaut and... Because right now you're looking at this, why are they three new names? Well, that's because both Thibaut and Tessman are taken off the list. I mean, I could be wrong, and by some miracle, both of these had a good result that dropped off, and now they're out the list, but I really highly doubt that. Because they was on both of the lists released earlier on this year. Then people in the comments was arguing about it, and now apparently they're off the list.
I did not notice that, but you know what? People aren't commenting on this anymore. It seems like it doesn't trigger people. I think they need you back.
Maybe, yeah, but to be honest, there's nothing like arguable about this because ONROAD is arguably the best. I don't think there's even that much of an argument to it. Maybe you could put Maifield on top of Phend, but his DNC result is really hurting him. Boots, you could say he's too high up, but to be honest, recently he has been this good.
I would say that's pretty accurate.
Yeah, and then
I would say Spencer Rivkin should be in that top 5 now, or close to it, higher up.
No. I'd say Berton should be below.
Yeah. Berton, I wouldn't agree with that.
Yeah,
I would say that Fuller. Well, Rivkin should be higher. That's
I don't think so. I mean, do you think Rivkin is better than Boots or Canas or Fuller?
No, I said he should be higher than Berton right now.
Yeah. But I think you move Berton down to 8th, and your top 10 is pretty accurate.
Yeah, I put Mason up in 6th. I would put Ricardo down. Oh, okay. Yeah, I missed that.
Berton to 8th, Mason and Spencer up, and then you have your top 10.
You know what? We need to go look at Mod's rankings as well. See what they're doing.
The thing with these rankings, it's at the end of the day, the top 25 is good enough where another ranking can't really take it over. Because like if top 25 was so shitty, then like, yeah, sure, someone else could do a better one. Or then, because you have to kind of find a way to market it better. But so far, no one has done that.
Yeah, but we're going to talk about something that has nothing to do with rankings, but it's an actual point series coming up soon. First, I did see Carlos at the E-Buggy World Cup. He came up and pretty much told me everything that Max hasn't seen this video, by the way. We're going to mute JQ because he's too loud, as usual. And we're going to put on this video. We're not going to watch it all, but we're going to just find out his comments on the Worlds. And we'll go from there.
Joining us. There's been a lot of talk online.
Yep, hold on. Let me bump up.
We're not watching the whole thing, though.
Cancelled in Brazil. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, I can. Just about 15 days ago, I received a phone call from Brazil, from Ifmar, about to have a meeting with the organizer from Sao Paulo. They have already contacted me in order to be the speaker of the event in Portuguese, English, and Spanish. And then I thought it was for that, the meeting. And then suddenly the meeting was that the organizer has decided to withdraw his candidacy to retire because there's a lack of permits from the town council to the use of the complete park where the premises are. They have a premises valid for 100 people, but not valid for 180 plus all mechanics, everything like that. So he asked permission to use more land, and the permit never have arrived. And it has gone more than 1 year, no positive answer. So at 6 months mark, he said, I cannot go farther with this. And then 1 month to the event saying, no, you don't have the permit. That would have been even worse. So at 6 month mark, he said, sorry, I have to stop. I cannot go farther. Then Ifmar opted to present as alternative venue South Buenos Aires. And that was not of the like of the several Ifmar blocks. So it was not chosen. And so that it came backwards as per the rules to EFRA.
Lots of people want to understand why the event's going back to Redovan. Can you explain the decision process?
Okay, the decision process we did in EFRA has been exactly okay. We did receive 5 candidacies. Out of 5 candidacies, 3 had the problem of the limit of the fuel, because those countries cannot run over 16, and the Ifmar rule says that the fuel amount, the amount of nitro in the fuel must be 25 or up to 25. So we cannot limit the right to the people who use it to drive on 25, not to drive this 25. So at the end, out of the 5, only 2 European were able to, that were Barcelos and Redovan. So we had a meeting with Ifmar. EFRA had a meeting with Ifmar 1 week after the announcement from Brazil, and we put forward to Ifmar the 2 names. It says we have a perfect candidacy, both of them, and it was Sunday to say Barcelos has already the 1.8 electric buggy for the next year, so Barcelos not, and then it was only Redovan. For me, it's actually those are the 2 top facilities ready for anything at top level for 180 drivers without any doubt, with a good organizing team, with a good knowledge of everything like that. And the rest have the inconvenience of the fuel, which is a big inconvenience.
The e-buggy will.
Alrighty then. Alrighty. So Max, you haven't seen that. So he goes on to talk about they asked about the e-buggy World Championships, which we'll talk about later.
Yeah, okay.
So,
I have to say this. I do not understand how nobody thought that, hey, what if we rotated these around? Like, what if they just switched? Redovan did the e-buggy and Barcelos did the nitro. This is what we talked about last week. Like that would have been such like. And I thought initially when you told me about this fuel thing before I had watched the video, I thought that the reason they didn't go to Barcelos was that. But the issue was that they was going to have a race next year there, which to me is ridiculous that was being, because you could have just, I'm 100% confident both would have agreed to switch.
JQ, your thoughts on that? JQ?
Yeah, I I think it's just incredible that there's only 3 tracks in Europe. Redovan, IBC track, and ONROAD Ring. There's so many tracks. It's just, I don't understand why it is so hard to find more organizers. So Efra and Ifmar need to look at that and solve that. Yes, those tracks are good, but it's like every year going back to the same ones. It's, you know.
What do you think about the fuel issue? Because I mean, that is a point with the rest of the world not running 16%.
I think the issue is because Ifmar rules state that 25 is the upper limit. So you would have to make a rule change for the Ifmar rules for the worlds to go to the place. Like, I don't think it's an issue long term. But
yeah, because you saw people freaking out about that. It's never going to be another worlds anywhere else.
Yeah, I do agree with at this timeline, it's an issue. But for, let's say, 2030, when it's again in Europe, I do think that there's no issue in running 12% fuel. Like, I think it's fine, you know. But yeah, for now, I do agree with them because they would have had to change the rules if the Ifmar rule states that the fuel is up to 25.
So I actually got a message from the president of Ifmar, and he said that when they had so hold on, let me bring it up. He said when they had the meeting, he saw the video, and his words were this. He said, hold on, I'm bringing it up. I just watching the video. Efra never had a meeting with Ifmar to propose 2 venues. They simply told us which one they would choose and didn't even know they considered other options.
I think that's exactly where the issue lies in, because because I do think in situations like this, other blocks should be allowed to give their opinion on this. In some sense, Efra has the authority to choose their own suggestion, but I do think in situations like this, where the suggested option for a venue is the previous venue, I do think the other option should be allowed to be reassessed by the whole Ifmar board. Because in this sense, I do think Barcelos would have been the much superior option based solely on the fact that in 2022, the Worlds was at Redovan. And I do think switching the e-buggy Worlds to Redovan would have been the perfect, because then it would offer both of these organizers more time to prepare.
Yeah, absolutely. But it is going to Redovan. Carlos kind of, I was sitting off with James, who actually recorded this from RC Racing TV. We were sitting off having lunch at the e-buggy World Cup, and Carlos came sat next to us, and he said, "Well, being as you guys are media, I'm going to tell you what happened." And he pretty much said the same thing to me. So the conspiracy side of me wants to come out and say something, but I mean, at the end of the day, I think that Portugal would have been able to hold it. I think the best thing would have been to do was switch it back and forth. But here's the good thing. The American top racers seem to be very happy about this decision.
Of course, because they were scared of going to Brazil.
Well, not just because of the not wanting to go to Brazil. I think they've been to Redovan. They know how, we talked about this. They know how the track is going to develop. The Balders, who put on an exceptionally great show and did a great job of the event back in 2022. They have promised to change the track completely. In fact, it's mandatory. I asked Carlos, but that is mandatory that they have to change it. So I think it's like, hey, I like the attitude by them. Like Ryan Lutz said, hey, I got another round to do this. We're going to see all the top guys going there. I am excited to be going to. We're going to Redovan, hopefully, Max, if you get the time off. And I'm excited for it. JQ, are you excited to? Well, no, you've been to Redovan. You guys have been to Redovan so many times.
I've been to Redovan like 4 or 5 times.
Right, but now we're gonna have a pretty much complete track change. So that's gonna be fun. It's gonna make it different.
Well, I've been to Redovan and I think 2 or 3 different layouts.
No, and but not like a complete track layout.
I have been to 2 completely different and 2 partly different.
All right. Well, we're not going to beat that horse to death any further. We are going to move right on to our... Jakey, did you have anything to say about that before we leave and go on?
No.
Ooh, was that a fart or was that just your chair?
It wasn't my chair.
It was a Finnish reindeer fart. All right. Up next is the CorsaTec USA race recap. CorsaTec USA is your one-stop shop for all things CorsaTec in the USA. You can now purchase all of your CorsaTec range of products for nitro and electric-powered systems and accessories used by world and European champions David Ronfalk and Robert Battier. Established in 2022, CorsaTec was founded by Adrian Bertin, 3-time Ifmar champion and in GP, and Oscar Jensen, 5-time European champion in the electric classes. CorsaTec is made by racers for racers, all available in the USA. You can find the link for the CorsaTec USA in the written description of this podcast. Let them know you heard about it on the No Name RC podcast. All right, so this past weekend, I obviously, as you guys know, I was in Portugal for 2 weeks. I went to the IBC. Unfortunately, it got rained out, and wasn't able to participate in it. But I was also there to stay for the first ever e-buggy World Cup. So this was held at the ACDB OS Barrios facility in Maquinas, Guarda, Portugal.
Euros.
Host of the 2010 Euros. The man in the middle was actually there, JQ. I was looking at some pictures. Obviously I had the sticker of where Neo Buggy was. We saw a picture of Matt hanging out the window with way much more black hair than he has now. JQ, what do you remember about the 2010 Euros?
I remember he broke an arm in some.
Was you there, Max?
Final. No, I wasn't. I was a kid then. Yeah, he was in the quarterfinal running the GQ prototype at the time. And then there was this huge 8-pack in the front, and then he broke his arm there. Maybe he didn't break it there, but I just remember someone carrying their car.
Double in the back.
I was watching it on RC Racing TV. I was 9 years old.
Yeah, that was the first time I raced my own car, I think.
Oh, really? So it's kind of a special place.
A bigger race.
Special.
Yeah, but the track was all different. It was all loamy and got super rough, and it was so different.
Yeah. So did he?
Yeah,
so this
that was
track
the last of his Euros.
So this is coverage brought to be RC Racing TV. I was there to do the commentary. I thought they did this is a beautiful facility. Very nice facility. There you have pitting outside of that big black building. You have pits along the side. You have a clubhouse that has beer on tap and food. And then, of course, you have the driver stand along with this big area for pits. So there's another good shot of the facility. This actual club has been around since 1953. They were celebrating their 71st anniversary this weekend. It's been like a football club, all that stuff. It's not been an RC club for all that long. It's very nice. It's awesome facility. They're tucked away in the beautiful mountains of Guarda. So I was talking to some of the guys. They said 2 weeks prior to this was all covered in white snow. I was like, really? So we made the trek there. Unfortunately, very low turnout. Only 8 e-buggy drivers showed up. JC3 won this hands down. Joao was trying to catch him up, but just was not able to do that against him. And yeah, so we're gonna just watch a couple of laps here with Joao with JC3. He was just kind of out there, I guess, testing and having fun. David Todd, another young Spanish driver, did very well. I think he came second overall. We had one driver, Harold Sandoval, who made the trip over from Israel. Young man, him and his father. I got to sit off and talk with them. They come to Europe quite often to race. They are talking about coming to America to race. So, and then the Portuguese.
Was there any Palestinian drivers?
No, there was no Palestinian drivers, Max.
Yeah, I wonder why.
So after this, they also on the Sunday they had a race where a lot of the Nitro guys came up and did some race, 10 or so Nitro races. So on the actual day, on this finals day, later on, dude, it was packed with people. So later on this day, people came from all over to all around the area. All that was full. Over to the side was full with just people, old people, young people watching the Nitro cars go. So here we see the track. I thought the track was good. It was very fast. It was loose. We saw a lot of four-wheel drifting. We had some rain the night before, so it was very hard packed. I got to work with the Powder and Paulo, the guys I worked with from IBC. James was there as well, doing things. So it was good to hang out with him. It was beautiful, man. We stayed in a beautiful Airbnb about 20 minutes from the track. And man, it was just like the views upper. Look, my second trip to Portugal, I love it. I want to live there. I had a great time. But unfortunately, we need to talk about the elephant in the room. Congratulations to JC3. He wins this. SRX becomes the first World Cup. J Concepts, Reds, all that stuff. That's great for them. But the low turnout, and I had to tell people that this is not an official World Championship. This is a World Cup. This is an archaic rule from back when probably Ifmar first started, where a federation or track had to prove that they can hold a race like this. And even Carlos, he said it in that video, and he said it to us at lunch, that this is a rule that they think they have to that they're pretty sure that they're going to do away with. And
like this probably cost Ifmar and the club.
Well, it cost the federation, Portuguese Federation, and Figueiredo a lot of money to put this on.
Yeah.
So a lot of money. They didn't make money. They lost money on this.
I don't understand why didn't people go? Was it the weather? Or?
Well, I mean, weather scared people off. And then of course you had PNB going on the same weekend, and it's a race that means nothing at the end of the day, right? It's a World Cup race. It's not a World Championship. The official World Championship will be there's Thomas Musso. He was there in the Corrali. The official World Championship is going to be held next year in Barcelos, where the IBC track is, and they'll do a complete different layout for that. And I expect all the top names to go to that because e-bug is a very popular class, and somebody's going to want to be the first ever e-buggy World Champion. And I might add that I was told that they will probably also allow e-truggy to run.
No, hopefully not. No.
I hope so too, because e-truggy is growing, man. Hey, Max, I was told
do you run truggy at Nitro Worlds? No, you don't.
I think e-truggy is bigger than Nitro Truggy worldwide.
Sure, but I think there's not a single World Championships where you run two classes side by side.
Yes, there is.
No, there isn't.
Yes, there is.
Which ones?
Two-wheel drive and four-wheel drive, and they said they might.
No, but they run it start of the week, end of the week. Yeah,
right. Two separate classes, and that's what they're talking about doing for e-truggy, e-buggy.
Yeah, but then the e-truggy would be unofficial.
No, it's going to be official.
How can you make it official if they haven't run a World Cup?
Well, by that time the rule should be gone.
Well, if it's done like that, I might accept it, but then why isn't Nitro Truggy a World Championship class?
I would have to agree with you with that, and I think all manufacturers would agree with you on that too. And maybe this is the way it becomes an actual world class.
I think if you,
I think that they should have a Nitro. I think that we're at a Worlds enough time to run Nitro Truggy and Nitro Buggy.
I think that's just. I just think that's just silly. Like, why do we?
Oh, JQ's getting triggered. JQ's getting triggered. What do you think, Beaker?
Truggy is not a World Championship class. It's like monster trucks. It's just for fun.
If
no one takes it seriously.
If Ifmar says it's a World Championship class, then it becomes a World Championship class.
I think. Okay, let's put it this way.
Ifmar famously makes really dumb decisions. Haters. So just because they would make that decision doesn't mean that it would be right. No one cares about truggy. There's enough classes to care about already. Just keep it what it is. Some fun class. That's it.
Yeah. I think
it's like GT was a big mistake to make at the Worlds.
I don't know. I think GT deserves a Worlds because that's the only class like that. That's the only
GT is like let's make a bad on-road car. Okay. Yeah. Why is it bad? Because it's based on buggies. It's simple. It's
okay. Joseph, here's the difference.
The point. Wait, can I fucking say my point now? GT, the point of the class was that it's simple, easy. The cars are durable. It's cheap. It's fun. Okay, that's the whole point of the class. When you make it a World Championship, it will cease being that.
Well, it has already ceased being that. We talked about this, Max.
Just like back in the day, short course, slash, and all that bullshit. Perfect. New people to come in. They make it a fucking modified racing class. Having Maifield and Cavalieri and all those guys race it. It ruins the class because it becomes too competitive. Okay. So you have some classes which are supposed to be simple, affordable, cheap for fun. And you don't make those world championships or something serious. That's the whole point. Then you have the serious classes which are separate. That's
JQ?
Okay.
You actually have a fucking great point.
Yeah.
But I agree with your point 100%. But I think GT isn't in that category.
Yeah, GT is exactly in the
no. Because the reason why GT isn't in that category is because it's an 8-scale on-road class that's on rubber tires. Because right now we have 2 world championship level on-road classes. Both run foam tires. Both are 4-wheel drive. The other one is 1.8, other one is 1.10, and they have different body shells. That's just silly. That's like having Truggy as a world championship class alongside Buggy. But GT is very different because it's on rubber tires and you have a GT body. Okay.
Yes, but exactly what JQ has said has
GT
happened
should
to
not
GT.
be a competitive class.
Because now, as we look at we looked at them a few months ago when we was geeking out on GTs. Look at the Genius car; it looks like a freaking touring car, an 8-scale touring car now. The SRS car,
but the world championship was won by Hong Nor, which is
that's because Tony Gruber's really good too, as well. You know,
but I mean the other drivers were good too. I think you can make an 8-scale buggy like that, but the thing is that nobody really who is in 8-scale has the interest in making something like that.
Well, I just want to say, if they do, I'm fine with it. I like E-Truggy. JQ, no Truggy for you. Max, no Truggy for you. Lefty says Truggy.
Yeah.
Truggy
I think we should
with original truck body. There we go. Woo!
Yeah, I think altogether we should reconsider what is a world championship class. For example, as I said, 10-scale Nitro ONROAD. What the fuck is point of that class? It's like nobody runs it anymore. They only run it for the worlds. No manufacturer really cares about that. Everyone cares about 1.8. So that class, why do we even run it? Then, Truggy would be absolutely dumbest because that's exactly the same. It's kind of like a bigger buggy, kind of like 10-scale on-road is. 10-scale Nitro on-road is smaller.
The Truggy diehards are going to hate you to this weekend. Woo!
Yeah, but I think, short course is a perfect example because effectively it's either a small 8-scale or a big 10-scale with a different body.
Right.
So it's like, it's no point. But
you had one more.
Very different.
We had one more. So this is an argument that we probably take this to another podcast between you two. But you both bring up both valid points. I like JQ's point about it making it too competitive. GT was a good example of how the GT cars are going. But I mean, it's already a competitive class in America. And it's, as I was told to tell you, Max, that it's growing in America. It's growing in Europe, especially E-Truggy, by a European. So
yeah, but I think that it doesn't matter how many run it.
You're never wrong, Max.
No, to me, there's no argument on how many run it. I think it's about what is already established and is there a space for something like that. Nitro Buggy, E-Buggy, they're completely different platforms. Okay, you can run Nitro or E-Buggy, but Truggy and Buggy, they're effectively the same. They have bigger tires and a slightly bigger car. It's no point. GT, I think it has a space in RC. And if you went to Latin America and you asked what's the most important RC
I want a
class,
GT.
Yeah, I think ask anyone in Latin America and they're gonna tell you GT is their most competitive class.
It's very big. It's very big.
I think it's very Eurocentric to say that GT is not worth it because we run other classes a lot more.
The only way that GT should have a worlds is if they had strict rules which kept the cost down and kept the cost.
Good example. Good example. They had strict rules before, where you can run an engine under. You had to run an engine under a certain price and all that type of stuff So, but like I said, it's kind of spiraling out of control. And yes, the RC
I don't think it's
engineer,
out of control. If you look at the Serpent, which was one of the fastest GTs there at the Worlds, that cost approximately similar price to Nitro Buggy. I think it's one of these false things, because you can make a 10 scale buggy cost $1,000. Like HP made a $600 10 scale buggy that absolutely sucked, you know. So it's not. It's like it just looks different, you know. And none of these, like Ongaro went to the GT Worlds with his genius car, absolutely sucked. You know, a guy with the fucking Dorn Neumann with a shortened shock S-Works won it, you know. Now at the Worlds,
Dorn has had much experience running different classes than in ONROAD, I believe. I think.
Sure, but I mean, Ongaro run the high-end fucking GT car.
You bring up a very valid point. You bring up a very.
I think it's same as saying that, you know, 8 scale is ruined if you bring active rear suspension, active rear, you know, towing to 8 scale. Like no, 8 scale is ruined because it has so much. You have to tune it on a setup station and so on. So I think it's
all right. I'm watermelon seeding you again. Kumquat watermelon seed. You have a post race comment. Canas, who's now accepting JC3 as his moniker. Traveling quite a lot. He's putting in that work. I was talking to him. He said he's going to Silver State. He said a lot of these guys told me that they are all coming to AMS in November as well.
Yeah.
So he said next year he wants to do all the race time events. So it would be SIC, PNB, Wicked Weekend, and AMS. The only problem with Wicked Weekend, it kind of clashes with the Euros this year, so I think they would have come. So that's good. Canas is putting in the work that's needed. I said, how do you feel about Redavon? He's like, I said, you just wonder. He's like, well, let's go. I'm ready. So it's going to be interesting to see. He's putting in that work. He's living that RC life, and that's why he's probably top 3 best drivers in the world at the moment. So, anything you wanted to add to that before we move on to our main topic, Maximus?
No, but please don't make Truggy a world championship class. We need less, not more.
How about you, Jakey? One last comment before we move on.
Move on already.
Jesus. All right. Coming up next, don't worry, but we have a race coming up. It is Dakota Slideways Midwest Nationals, which is happening July 13th to 14th in South Dakota. They have 8 scale Nitro Buggy, 8 scale Truggy, E-Buggy, E-Truggy, 10 scale Open, E-Buggy, and Novice. It's presented by Amy and Hobbies Protec RC and various other companies. This is a cash payout race. That's right, everybody. You can win some money at this race. I believe they have over $7,500 up for grabs. So let's bring it up here. I do have it. $50. The race fees are $50. Pro class paying out $1,000 for first, $500 for second, $350 for third, $150 for fourth, and $75 for fifth. E-Buggy will have a $40 entry fee with 50% of the pot going to the payout of the top 5. For the top 3 pro classes, the B-Man winner also has an option. If you win the B-Man, you can get $100 cash, but do not get into the main. If you take the cash, you bump up into the main. It's going to be hosted by TJ's Barbecued Food Truck, which sounds awesome. This is at the Aberdeen, South Dakota, Brown County Fairgrounds. If you want to find out any more information, you can go to the Dakota Slideways Facebook page. Hit up Jason Klinkner, I believe that is his name as well, on Facebook as well. Check him out. Coming up July 13th. Put this on your calendar if you want to go. And guess what? We even have a video for it. So that's always good when people send us videos. Dakota Slideways Midwest National, July 13th to 24th. And I thought we had a video for it. Where is it? Did I lose it?
Professional podcaster.
You know what? I forgot to upload it. I'll upload it her and then I'll put it on her later on. But Dakota Slideways Midwest Nationals, July 13th to 14th. Check them out on Facebook or check out Jason Klinkner. Max, professional podcaster that makes mistakes and accepts mistakes.
Yeah.
That's what we are.
You haven't learned the thing about life. You never accept that you're wrong.
Like you. Yeah. Ooh, Max, are we getting salty? Today?
No, I don't know. I feel, because the thing about why I went.
He brings out your worst side in you. JQ brings out your worst side.
No, the thing, because I feel GT is one of the coolest classes.
Are we still going on? I like GT. I get it.
You know
but
what?
I get JQ's point.
Done already. Hey, listen, I'm losing interest. Let's talk about that thing that you said that we needed to hash out. Something about his vegan girlfriend, or was that?
Oh my!
No. We're going on to PNB. We're going on to PNB right now.
I don't think JQ even has a good rebuttal on that because I was absolutely right that he'd agree.
You know what? We're going to give you guys
was
5
there more
minutes.
to that story? Wait, was there more to the story, or was it just that you think that like batteries actually pollute more? Was that it?
Go ahead, Max. You got 5
else.
minutes. 5 minutes. You got 5 minutes.
You said that I'm only vegan because my girlfriend's vegan, and then I told that this was like the small part of it because I was actually vegan like quite a bit before. So,
No, you weren't.
Yes, I was.
There's no way. Okay, so what was it that you said on the last podcast about that? That was it?
Yeah, that was
what was I wrong about?
About why e-buggy should become a class, and it's because of will become a bigger class, and it was because that's how it will go when people are going to be having more interest in that. You can even see it in Finland. No one's running Nitro Buggy anymore.
Ooh, he did say that. He did say that, JQ. See, now you know how I feel when he was talking all that blasphemous heresy,
Yeah. Now JQ is like scrambling for anything to say because I'm absolutely right on this one.
Oh, okay. So are we finished with that? Can we move on to PNB?
Yeah, let's go to PNB.
All right. So up next, we're going to do our PNB recap. This was the PNB. I've been 4 times before. Did not make it this year because obviously I was in Portugal. So we had all of the top US drivers making this trip besides Tyler Jones, who got sick, and Joe Bornhorst, who was expecting the birth of his first baby. Congratulations if he had the baby to him and his wife. And of course, for the first time seeing a top European making the trip over there was David Ronefalk, the Viking.
What? Me and JQ both went before.
First top European driver.
That's not true. Let's be
JQ.
honest.
Who?
JQ and I went. Savoya went at some point.
Top.
Savoya,
okay, you know what, JQ? You know what, JQ? When you went to PNB the first time, you was probably a top European driver.
Yeah, that year he made the Euros A main. The year
yeah, so when you made it, 2016, JQ?
2017.
Yeah, so fuck you.
Okay, so you was
and Savoya has gone too.
Okay, I stand corrected. Top European champion and world champion driver, David Ronefalk.
Well, to be honest, he was the only H-scale world champion there this year.
Yeah, who was? There was no Tyres.
There's no American world champions from the past 10 years. Not even past 14. And the only one is retired.
Sounds like it sounds like I struck a nerve with JQ, top European driver. He actually fucked me off. But yeah, so we had that happen this past weekend. All right, I guess let's start with Max. You take the lead for this. I am actually looking for something right now. So you go ahead, take the lead, Max, and I'll follow.
Yeah, so this is PNB. Okay. I kind of thought we'd end with this, but I want to start with this because they took away all the extra.
Okay, this is actually a good thing.
Off the track that they previously had. They had the wooden jumps, they got rid of those. They had the wall, they got rid of that. They had the Joker lane, and for this year, they got rid of that. I have to say, by far, this was the best PNB I can remember.
No, okay? I actually agree with you on
from almost every single standpoint. I can't think of anything that was rocket car jump.
That needs to come back.
Didn't exist. That needs to come back. Everything else they did this year was better than they've ever done before. By far.
No, to counter that, there are people that message me and said, this isn't PNB no more. There's no big stupid jump, like, big car breaking jumps and no ramps and no wall and no joker lane. And I'm like, well, last year they've kind of been getting away from that. It's like you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. If you make those big jumps where people break their cars, people complain about their cars breaking too much, right? If you do all this type of stuff,
they have big jumps.
Yeah, but not like, okay, last year they had a really, really big jump, right? But people I guess people want to have, I don't know what to say. I thought it was, as a spectator, not being there, I thought it was great because I like things that I like races. Like, I don't want to, yes, the wall ride and all that stuff was cool, and the jumps and the big jumps, that was cool in the past. But I think what they're trying to do at Race Time Entertainment is they realize that this is a very big race with people coming from around the world. So they have to kind of make a track that is more raceable, right? So I did hear people complaining, or people messaged me saying, I said, this wasn't PNB, it doesn't have this. Well, things change, and this obviously has developed as well, right? So, I don't know how to think about that. I think it was great. I wasn't there driving or racing on it, so I cannot speak for that, but I did hear some people complain about that, and I'm just like, PNB has kind of been getting away from that for quite some time now.
I think that's a good argument that the soul of PNB is gone in some sense. But to be honest, wall rides wasn't that big of a thing. They had it like twice before. The Joker lane was brought on just the last 2 or 3 years. Wooden jumps was the OG PNB. I don't mind the wooden jumps. I think they had one when I was there, and it was like the wooden jumps aren't an issue really. Big jumps necessarily aren't an issue either, because as long as you have a good landing. But to be honest, this year they had 2 quite big jumps on the left-hand side and on the in front of the driver's stand. Yeah, you can go even bigger, but I don't think anyone really truly enjoys those. Track was big, as it always is. I don't necessarily see anything except for those wooden jump faces missing from the OG PNB days when I was a kid watching it. They still had 24-hour practice. They still had qualifiers go into the night. All the stuff that kind of the OG psycho thing, that was still there. And I think when I was a kid watching PNB and from Come Drive With Us, that's what really was for me, the PNB experience. Joker Lane was a new thing, and it had sucked all the way through because there was no point even watching the race. You just waited for them to finish. This year we had one of the best races I witnessed in a while.
We had quite a few races. We had good races in e-buggy. We had good races, and now we're talking about the pro side of things. We had good races in pro buggy. We had good races in nitro trucking. We had a great race in pro e-buggy. So, to me, as a pro fan, watching this at home, that's what means the most to me. And I have not been a fan of the Joker lane. I will not admit. I agree with you there. I think we discussed this, and I think they have realized that it has to be the reverse. Like, it has to make you go slower, not faster, and maybe use it once. Like, isn't that kind of how it works in motocross as well?
From any sport ever, right. It's always longer, because if you can cut the track, it's silly, because then the guy who's actually not leading is leading the whole way through.
Right. So they didn't have any of this. It was just a pure, a pure racing, which I think it should be, a racing track. The PNB has become a staple on the American circuit. It's up there with DNC Silver State as prestige and winning it. Now we're starting to see more Europeans come over there. I do apologize, not really, to JQ for not considering them a top driver, and you, Max. But good to see Ronald coming over there. I think we're going to see more Europeans coming over. I think the Southeast needs it because the Southeast needs more European guys racing there. I thought the track was good. Of course, you're never going to please everybody. It was huge, like huge. And the racing was good. Coverage was good too. Live RC did a very good job. I believe they listened to the podcast because I think we pissed some people off on our last podcast, especially me. But It seems like they followed all of your advice, JQ, that you put up there on the last rant when we was ranting, and when I used my limit of F-bombs for the year on you.
What was that?
Which you did not win, by the way. Our last rant where you told me to stay in my lane, but I think that the coverage was good. They did more interviews. They had a second commentator there. Drone footage was there, even though the drone footage was by Cooper Lycom, which is Dave's son, which we did at Wicked Weekend last year. The coverage by Elite RC Productions was great. Going out there doing interviews and all that type of stuff. They did the graphics. The graphics was a combination between the Elite RC crew with Danny and Jacob. You did great write-ups, Max. The only thing was it was a little late. I remember it was up to like 2:00 in the morning trying to write one. And I was like, Max wakes up and goes, I'm going to try and stay up for the Nitro Buggy race. And then I'm like, yeah, stay up because I have to be up at 6:30. And then I was like, Max, and he was asleep.
I fell right back to sleep.
We saw a lot of companies, different people share those graphics too, which was great, which brought me back to remnants of Neo Buggy days, Red RC days. I did say in the future, though, we're probably going to have one graphic with the TQ guy on there and then one graphic with nobody on there. So people who don't have to cut and paste and just put it up there, they can share that and give credit to the people who made it. I thought Danny and them and Patrick and those guys worked hard. Of course, you're not going to please everybody. There are people that have complaints. This was the third race in the NNRC Cup for the pro guys and the second race for the intermediate and sportsman guys in Nitro Buggy. We'll talk more about that. But let's get on to talking about some of the points about this race that you have written here, Max. We saw some great racing, man. We saw, we was happy about the Viking going over there. We saw Maifield absolutely in Truggy, continuing his dominance with the Tekno truck. Van Dalen was very fast this weekend in all of his classes, to be honest. I can't remember how he made out an e-buggy, but he finished second in truck. And I thought that he TQ'd it, if I'm not mistaken. He TQ'd a Ron. We saw Brandon Rose TQ a Ron in Nitro Buggy, which was great. You got it up here. You got our graphics up here, Max. Awesome.
Yeah. Should we start just with going through Truggy?
Make that bigger, please, if you can, so everybody can see it.
I don't know how I can. Okay.
No, right here. You go to the expand. Come on, Max. Professional Facebooker here.
What
go to the expand up here. You got to go to the expand.
Oh, you want full screen? You want full screen?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So obviously, Maifield won it again. Truggy main looked interesting in the beginning, but then
kind of petered out.
Yeah. I mean, Ryan he was so far. Yeah, he was so much better than everyone else. It's hard to say anything because he's always
he's better. Really good in this class.
Yeah,
really good.
There was a bit of a battle for second, third, fourth, which kind of died out because Seth apparently had a transponder issue. I don't know what that was about, but he had a transponder issue. He looked to be fifth or whatever, and then he jumped back to second. One thing I have to say about Truggy was Phend wasn't nearly as strong as he
as we've seen him previously.
Yeah, because he was like Seth had kind of had him beat pretty much the whole main. Maifield was easily able to run away with over 20 seconds of a Phend. The rest of the top five with Lutz in fourth, Fuller in fifth, kind of what we get at every race these days. Lutz is always up there. And I have to say this, Truggy was David Ronnerpark's best class.
Yeah, it was.
He finished sixth in Truggy, which at that time when I watched the Truggy main, it was like, okay, he's going to do better in Buggy and e-Buggy, but yeah, never really materialized any of his he was, to be honest, at any point, he wasn't really looking that good.
Oh, he did get up to fourth at one point in e-Buggy, but then crashed coming onto the straightaway.
Yeah. Rest of the top 10, Tejas Sontak in seventh. Pretty solid. I think he's gotten much better since the win at the Worlds. I think he's
a lot of people have him. Okay, go ahead.
I think like last year he made a few mates, But this year he's consistently been in the main.
I think last year he made a lot of mains. I think he was better last year before winning the Worlds, but that's a topic for that's a discussion.
Yeah, could be, but I think he's been, at least in my eyes, he's looked kind of like he belongs there now. Because back in the day, when you're looking at this list, it was just one TLR. Now it's two. So then Lee Setzer, pretty okay. Fee, actually, was this now Nitro Buggy or yeah, it was Nitro Buggy. He was running really well in Nitro Buggy, but had an unfortunate end to the main. In Troggy, he's been always here around the top 10. And then Cole Caston actually he had to bump if I'm not wrong. So.
But Cole's also very good at these races. I think the biggest surprise here, the Soul HP, David Olsen, very good to him. He made it. Even though he finished 18th. Joey Bardon, a big shout out to him too, because he has steadily gotten better over the last couple of years. He's so young. He made all 3 of his mains this weekend.
Yeah, and straight from qualifying too.
Yes.
Not from bumping up. So I think that's always a good. Oh, I mean, I think it's like 15 qualifies ready to the main, but still, I mean, it's you have to be there to make it. So and he was. Anything else? No Cole Ogden. With Mugen.
Well, he was running a Mugen and he didn't make the main. So we'll talk about that with Nitro Buggy here. Let's go on to congratulations, Maifield, Team Tekno, Seth and Dalen doing 1 and 2. Very good run for them. Continuing on with their DNC dominance that we saw. And let's move on to E-Buggy, which the fish, like I think a lot of people were surprised that Jonah Wilson TQ'd this. It was a very exciting TQ run because he did TQ round 1 and he finished 5th to pip the rest of the guys. JQ's favorite American race.
Is Jonah Wilson the guy I first heard about today?
Yes, he is your favorite racer now. Your favorite American racer. But my pick, Mason Fuller, takes the win. It was a great E-Buggy run. It was a battle between him and Jonah with Brandon Rose and Maifield in tow. And Jonah made a small mistake, which allowed Mason, Maifield, and Rose to get by at one point. He was still in the mix. Maifield made some mistakes later on in the race, which just kind of put him out of it. While Mason and Brandon had a good battle almost to the end, and I think Brandon just kind of reneged to be in second and let Mason run away with it. Mason drove very well. Now I have to say this about the Iceman. He has beat these guys in E-Buggy quite a lot in the past. I need to see him. I am like waiting for that big Nitro Buggy win. Like at one.
Yeah, hasn't he won? Because his first big win was Southern
Nationals when he made that pass on Maifield. He won Truggy here last year as well.
Yeah, he retired from the lead of E-Buggy at DNC too, and also like. I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure he won at least a few E-Buggy mains last year too.
Probably. But
yeah,
we believe in you, Iceman. We need to get that Nitro Buggy win. Go to Silver State. Let's see what he finished third at Silver State last year from the B main, if I'm not mistaken. So maybe Silver State might be his cup of tea. Dakota Fence finishes in 4th. Rivkin, who has been very consistent, in 5th. Lee Setzer, who also TQ'd SIC, finishes in 6th. Ronafalk 7th. Maifield 8th. Stefan Naylor 9th. Wiggins in 10th. Olsen, good run for Olsen in 11th. I didn't realize he made that. Adam Drake 12th. JQ, you ain't beating Adam Drake yet. You are not beating Adam Drake at Silver State, good buddy. You are not beating him. Joey Berdon, Camden.
AMS. He doesn't race 40. There's the Adam Drake rule. He doesn't race 40 plus.
Oh, you wouldn't even get to race him. Such a shame. Lutz probably not happy with that. Lutz not in 18th, and Little Bumper won a better result than that, and so would Camden Lime. But steady result for those guys. And I guess we're gonna go talk about the big enchilada, which we love. Just
let me say a few words.
Okay, sorry.
Because there's a few patterns I've noticed recently. One which I already wrote on my post here, the associated. 3 associated in top 10. They barely have 3 drivers in the team. Jonah Wilson TQing this race. Lee Sets, as you said, TQ'd SIC. At PNB, 18 Horn, second after qualifiers.
At DNC.
Oh, sorry. DNC, 18 Horn was second after qualifiers. Rivkin finished on the podium. Was he even second? Or yeah, I think Rivkin was second at DNC and E-Buggy. It has to be said that Team Associated's performance in E-Buggy is by far superior compared to any other class. So to me, it's a bit unknown why that is. Looking at the top 10, basically Phend and the Teknos are the only one not running that saddle layout. Even David Olsen, he could be running the saddle from One Army, from all I know, I don't know. So it is interesting. I do not know why Associate is so good in E-Buggy, but they've got something down better than the others. That's for sure. Because they do much better in E-Buggy. And I don't know why, because even Ronafog, he did well at DNC. And but to be honest, I have to say,
he would not be happy if it's 7th.
Definitely not. But yeah, it's an interesting topic because this discussion has been going on for a while. There was this craze of everyone wanting a saddle. Then it kind of toned down. People like the Tekno or HB or Mayako or the old S-Works type layout where you have the brick and the center diff in the back. I think everyone who had the layout of the Mugen or the old AE, where you have the uncentered driveline and the engine to the side, I think everyone who had that has gone away. So it's centered driveline for everyone at this point. Well, Losi has that still. Sorry, Losi has that. But yeah, it's hard to say. I'd like to hear Joseph because Joseph is
I'd like to hear Joseph.
Because he's like he hasn't tried it, but he hates saddle.
What's the question?
Like E-Buggy layouts, because right now it looks like AE is doing really good. And they have the saddle, but also
sorry, that was a mistake.
You just cut me off right there. Yeah,
that's going to be my watermelon seed. Sorry, I made a mistake.
Yeah, that's good. That's actually good. When I'm talking too much, you should always play that because then I have time to have my words. But okay, so what I was saying that Associate is doing really well in E-Buggy. They have saddle layout, but also S-Works has saddle, X-Ray has saddle. A lot of these other brands have saddle, but they don't seem to have that difference of performance that AE has. So what do you think about it? Because it could be the saddle layout. They could be doing something different. I think if you look at the AE, the difference they have the batteries really close together. That's the only difference I can think.
I think that you can make either layout work. It's just a case of understanding that maybe if you have a very different weight distribution to the Nitro, you have to change your setup, and people don't change their setup. It's like you just run the same and change your, I don't know, maybe springs if the weight, but these days even the weight is about the same. So they just run the same setup and they don't put in the time to actually find a different setup. So maybe someone at Associated has spent some time working on the setup for the car. Maybe it's different between Nitro and E-Buggy. Is it? I don't know. But yeah, I think either layout you can make work.
I do have to say I agree with that quite a bit because I obviously studied this quite extensively last summer. I did roll inertia calculations. If you look at purely from weight distribution and roll inertia, the Tekno layout is superior because you can make it more balanced. What I think is inferior of that layout is that you cannot bring the weight as down. The difference in the weight height, the center of gravity height, is about 1 millimeter maximum. So it's not a massive difference, but it's a difference between saddle and the Tekno style layout. At the end of the day, I do highly agree with, like, 100% agree with Joseph that people don't really understand setups to make it work on both. But from my testing, the saddle layout was much closer to Nitro, because I ran saddle layout on my e-buggy last summer on the prototype, and from my findings, when you run the saddle, you can get it like almost exactly the same. Like, you could run everything the same as Nitro, and the only difference you'd feel is a slightly more aggressive corner entry. So yeah, I don't know, but it depends on many things. Like, for example, S-Works runs those, all the drivers run the long batteries in the back. They have it really far out wide, which I absolutely hate. I like them very narrow. But many things here that I think the e-buggy market will have to adjust to in the next few years.
Awesome. Can we move on from e-buggy? Congratulations to Mason Fuller and Brandon Rose. So 2 S-Works taking that 1 and 2. Anything to add before we move on to the glory, which is Nitro? Buggy.
I have to give
quite enough.
Extra shout out to Jonah Wilson. This was
I would have to say.
I don't. It's very rare that someone does well in qualifying and is new to this level, and then also pulls through in the main. So it's really hard to do what he did at PNB. Even though he finished just 3rd, even doing just that, it's really, really difficult at this level.
Absolutely. Those people like, who's Jonah Wilson? I'm like, he's the fish. That's all you need to know. JQ, anything you have to say before we move on to what you really like, which is Nitro?
No.
Good. All right. Up next is Pro Nitro Buggy. I do not own the rights to this video. We're just going to put this video up so you guys can see. This is the live RC Pro Nitro Buggy A final. I will leave links for this in the written description of this podcast. JQ was supposed to have videos done up, but he was pretty busy this weekend, so he didn't get to do it. We just want people to, we talked about the layout. We want to see people have a look at the layout. The video quality probably isn't going to be the best, so you can go over to the link in the written description on Live RC's YouTube to watch it. All right, let's get going with the start of this. So they start off. Let's put it up on full screen. And B Rose, man. How about Brandon Rose coming out swinging, taking that TQ? I was like, oh, man, it is going to be Rose time at race time. He takes TQ in round 1, followed by, I have the results here, followed by Dakota Phend, Spencer Rifkin, Stefan Dale in your top 5. Ryan Lutz 6, Riggins in 7, Runafault in an 8th, Little Bump 9th, Camden Line 10th, Cavallari 11th, Fuller 12th. Fuller had a 22 and a 7. Oof. Not so good. And then they went up to 16, Jonah Wilson, Taylor Sontag, Cole Ogden, Joey Bardone, and then Lee Setzer and Cole. Who bumped into the final? Let's bring that up here.
I think it was Wilson, Kasten, and Olsen.
No, I think they only took 2 bumps, buddy.
No, 3 bumps.
Oh, they did?
Bumps. Yeah, I was doing the report, so I know.
Oh, there you go. There's the drone footage done by Cooper. I like him. Very good.
I want to give, every time they do this, I have to give a shout out, because the only thing that annoys me is it actually impossible to get those drone statistics out of the screen?
Oh, you mean the overlay?
Yeah,
we'll talk to Jacob and see if we can get that worked out.
Yeah, because that's like the only criticism I can say is like the overlay kind of throws me off. But that footage, first off, having that footage is amazing. Second off, he is a fucking great pilot.
Yeah,
that's extremely hard to do.
So at Wicked, he had a much lower roof with hanging lights.
Yeah.
So he had to stay a lot closer, and he was able to do that. And he's about maybe 12, 13, 14. He did crash his drone at Wicked, but he's very good at this, man. And he's a young man, and it's good to see him doing. It's good to see this type of innovative stuff. But that's Jacob Peterson and Cooper doing that. The other brain. They are the the two with the brainchild behind that. So it was very good. There you can see. Oh, Maifield, that's where he makes his mistake.
Yeah,
all right, let's get.
Yeah.
So
this is where the main starts, you know. This is where the final starts, where
yes,
Maifield makes that mistakes, and at this point, I'm kind of like, oh no, like he can't pull away from Seth, because here it was kind of like, oh, Seth's really in this one, because he was in there in Nitro Buggy, and this was obviously after that one, and I was like, wow, Seth's actually faster than Maifield, but yeah, that's where the main kind of started, because. It was exciting.
I'm gonna try and go forward and find some of the mistakes made by Phend. All right,
you can go right to the last 3 minutes.
Okay.
Because the last 3 minutes was so exciting, because Phend could have absolutely won it. He could have absolutely pulled away from Maifield. He had a gap. He would have just had to drive it home, but he crashed, got by, crashed again, got by again, and then crashed again. And I think I put this on the notes too, that Ryan Maifield just has Dakota in like a continuous headlock. So right here, you can
mental
see
headlock, you said.
Yeah, like a continuous mental headlock, because it's like Dakota can try, he can be faster. Like he was miles faster from Maifield. He was absolutely faster than Maifield. Like if you look at the end, because right here Dakota is leading. He's having the lappers are distracting him a bit, and I can see why he made mistakes, but he has everything he needs to win right now. He just has to bring it home. He doesn't have to push, doesn't have to do anything crazy, just get by the lappers and bring it home. But here's, I think, coming into the last few laps, he does make a mistake, which allows Maifield to get by, and that's when you can actually see the speed that Phend has. Because people were saying on Facebook, commenting like, "Oh, I think Maifield had some speed in reserve."
I think Phend had some speed.
I think Phend had some speed in reserve, not the other way around. And
but he makes the same mistakes, man. And
right here,
that was crazy.
Yeah.
Let's go back. That was so crazy.
Yeah, and it was like this mistake is one of those old Maifield, old Phend type things where it just explodes off the track. Just like, boop. Yeah. And I think this is what creates his speed, but also is his biggest enemy, these type of crashes. And he did this multiple times in the main. Multiple times.
And there's Maifield right behind him.
Yeah, he's right in front of Maifield still. So even though he made that mistake, he still should be in control. But here we see, I think this is the lap where he shoots off the track.
Let's go back.
And I think, he definitely gets nervous here because he Mayfield's right behind him. He starts overdriving, and that's the result of that. He could see the rear end squats, front end comes up, and then just loses the car. And Maifield goes by, and this is the point where now from here on out, you can see how much speed Phend actually has. Because he gets back behind Maifield, makes another mistake, and then gets back again. And it's not like Maifield wasn't running fast laps. He was going really fast at here. But it's just at this point, why Phend loses is 100% mental. He's faster on track. He's arguably he has better.
But he's catching him up.
Yeah. Arguably, he also has better, long distance speed. Race pace is better, not just one lap pace. But the thing is, when Mayfield's close, Phend just, something clicks and he just can't keep it on its wheels, It's unfortunate.
Yeah, I mean, this was a great battle here at the end. JQ, you said something in our Discord that rang a big bell, and it's all about racecraft. Let's get your thoughts on what's going on here right now.
Yeah, Max said that Phend has the speed, and he showed that he could be faster, but then he makes mistakes. And I don't think that it's nerves. I think that it's racecraft or lack of racecraft, because even in the interview after Maifield said that at one point he tried to go faster, but immediately made a mistake or almost made a mistake.
This is the end. This is the dumbest thing he did at the whole main.
Pause the video. Pause the video here. Okay. So Maifield said that he tried to go faster but couldn't, and then he sort of drove within what he could do. He even said in the interview that his car told him this is the limit, so he understood, and then he just remained within that limit. Pause the video. Okay. So that is called racecraft in a sense. You know what you can do, and you do that. And then when you get in a racing situation, you understand to maintain that, right? You can take some calculated risks to go a bit faster, right? But Phend, he lacks this. He has the skill, the talent, the speed, but so many times you see that in these moments where he needs to understand that this is the limit, don't go over this, he just can't do it. And if he wants to win more consistently, then he needs to work on that, I think. Phend is the kind of guy that if he raced motocross, he would be injured all the time. Where someone like Maifield would be on the track winning races, and when he finishes second, that's okay, and he doesn't get as injured as much. You know, it's a mental thing, yes, but it's not nerves. It's not that, oh, this moment is overwhelming for me, I am nervous. No, it is a different thing. It's racecraft. Yeah, it's the sort of race intelligence in a sense.
I do agree with you. I do agree with you 100%. But I do think there's a difference between drivers, because there's two types of drivers who make mistakes. One type of driver is the one who you know is going to make a mistake. You don't know when or where, but you know they're going to make a mistake. It could be that they're chasing someone and they crash. It could be that they're in the lead, they crash. Or it could be that they're running at a comfortable pace and they still crash. But Phend, in my opinion, isn't like that. Phend is the type of driver that crashes where he absolutely should not crash. When he knows that he should not crash at this point, he crashes. And to me, that's, yes, down to racecraft, but I do think it's also some type of nerve. It's not necessarily that he gets nervous and then makes a careless mistake, but I think the best way to put it is Phend is the type of driver that you can force into a mistake, whereas Maifield is the type of driver that you absolutely cannot force into a mistake. But like you saw at the beginning, he made a mistake. There's no point of him making that mistake, and he wasn't forced into that, but he crashed at the beginning.
I think Phend is the only one who can really answer this. He knows, but what it looks like is when you look at it, it looks very similar. Like we can watch this last mistake now, and it's basically a situation where if he had just calmed the fuck down, he would have been fine. Okay, Maifield, like he jumps over Maifield, right? Let's watch that now. It looks like I'm nervous kind of mistake, whiskey throttle off the track. But I think it's more this thing like where the brain shuts off and I just go as fast as I can. Like it's. Yeah. I still think it's a bit different. So, okay, this is awesome.
Yeah, this is the best move you could ever see. Yeah.
But then it's like, this is where you need to know that I have this race now, okay? I'm going to win. But he completely blows the corner, jumps off the track. Like, why? This is so unnecessary, right? You are leading the race.
Yeah.
You know? And I don't.
And you can't say he had the right line coming into the corner. If you just let it play, Maifield's the one who makes the mistake. Maifield's the one who's like out of order here. Phend drives his normal line. He drives the same line every lap. All he needs to do here is to brake at his normal point. But because he's in his brain realizes that he just got by Maifield, he overshoots his braking point and the corner. And I think like this is it's difficult to say what the actual reason is, but he doesn't make this mistake when it's for third place, when it's for a casual overtake. But when it's for like the lead of the race, 9 out of 10 times he makes mistakes like this. Like we saw when he was in the lead and he crashed here before the straight. If he just took his normal line, lifted off the throttle, and then like regrouped when he was out of order and at the exit of the corner, he could have absolutely handled the situation. But I think because when it's not for a valuable position, he doesn't make these mistakes. But when it's for the first position, he makes these mistakes always. That's why I think there is some nerves to it. There is some like unconscious overexcitement or whatever it is. But yeah, either way you put it, it's still like almost any driver who's at, like, let's say if that was Ongar or if that was Maifield, even if that was Ronnefolk, I do think all of those drivers would have braked into that corner earlier than normal. But Canas is maybe one of these that he has gotten much better recently. But back in the day, Canas was one of those drivers who'd make mistakes like this. But recently, I haven't seen him do this. But right now, I think Phend is the only one at the highest level who consistently makes mistakes like this. And I'm absolutely certain that Maifield knows this. He most likely is going to drive more aggressively in situations like this because he knows that can force Dakota into a mistake. Be it subconscious or actually consciously making this.
They've done it. He's raced them so much, right?
Yeah.
They've been so. If you look back on that video, you see where Maifield gets squarely and he comes off one of those jumps and he checks up, but still is able to stay in front of Phend. I will give you another example. 2021 at the Nationals, right? There was a big, fast sweeping corner with one hole in it. One hole. He hit this hole every time, and he flew off the track like one out of 3 times. Why? So I had somebody else message me and say, "This is what they think about Phend. It's like he's like a robot. He goes for the same lines. Obviously, he blew the corner on that last one and doesn't adjust his lines. But I have to ask this, and we have to ask this question, because he was not doing this when he had your dad, Barry Baker, there coaching him or on his side. He was doing way less of this. It looks like he's kind of going back to the old Phend pre-Barry Baker now. When he had Barry Baker in his pits, helping him out, we saw a lot less of this type of driving. Now, don't get me wrong, Dakota Phend is freaking amazing. Like we saw him pick up the pace and do things, but we see him just make mistakes, or the car making mistakes where others aren't, where Maifield isn't, and it could be just not having. It could be. It's a mental thing. I have to agree with JQ on the racecraft side of things.
Yeah,
and you mentally got him in a headlock. JQ, what does he have to do to fix this, you think? What if Phend is your driver, JQ, besides telling him not to be shit, what would you tell him to do?
Well, the harder your car is to drive, the harder it is to not make mistakes in those situations. So that would be one thing to look at. Is there a way to work on the setup so there's a bit more comfort and safety in it? That's one thing. But I still think that the biggest thing has to do with sort of him understanding after he jumps over Maifield there's, I don't know, a second or 1.5 seconds until that corner. Like, what goes through his mind in that moment? Because there are many situations like this. DNC also, it was a similar thing, like 2 or 3 times. he had a different pit strategy than the others. So there was this moment where he comes out the pits or Ronnefalk comes out the pits and they're right there. And when that moment happened, like he was right there, he crashed. Okay. So there is something that he thinks about, something that he changes in those moments. So that is what needs to be figured out, really. I don't know what that is because I don't know what he thinks. But that's the problem, I think. Because in that situation where you jump over your competitor, there's like 30 seconds to go or whatever. Normally you should be like, okay, I got this. And then you protect the inside. You don't like punch it crazy style. No, you're like, if I break and I do this corner perfect and he hits me, he will have to let me by again. Or he will get a stop and go. Like, this is the mentality. Like, I just need to cover the inside. Make sure he doesn't get by. That's what you should think. Not banzai into the corner and overshoot it and fly off the track. Like, that is not skill, talent, nerves. No, I think it's some kind of like mental thought process, subconscious or conscious, something that a switch is the wrong way. Okay? And that is the most important thing to fix, I think.
Yeah. I would have to agree with you there. I truly think Barry Baker helped him with that. I truly do.
Yeah, actually, I wanted to kind of comment on that because there's two options here. One option is it's placebo and that's actually not happening, but you just think that's happening. Because it's hard to say because during that time when Barry was with him, he was either consistently getting beat by Maifield or then consistently winning everything. There wasn't a point where these two were having these 30-minute, 45-minute long battles, you know? So that could be one aspect. That actually it's just that now we have this thing that these two are so closely together that we actually see it happening right in front of our eyes. Or then I see what's most likely is the fact that because he had someone to help with setup, he could be more comfortable with his driving. Because I think now he's either making setup decisions himself or with help of others, but he is not putting enough effort on making the car easy in those situations. He's looking to have the most speed in qualifying. Maybe. Okay, this is just like anything could be happening here. But I think it's more likely than with Barry, they was thinking of the long mains. Because that was the issue for them at the beginning. So with Barry,
very much so.
Barry could put his time into thinking of, hey, let's have a car for the 45 minutes, not for the 5 minutes or whatever. But now maybe that's what's going on. I do not believe that Barry was in his headphones saying that now you need to calm down or giving him tips. Maybe he was, who knows? But I do not think that's what changed. If Barry made a difference, I think it's more so on the fact that Barry would suggest setup changes that would make it better for the main, just because of what I think he would suggest as a mechanic or whatever, because he's from the old guard back in the day. That's what you had to do. Like, that's what you do when you are an experienced racer. For Dakota, where he's a 10 scale guy, maybe he doesn't have that type of mentality in the setup of the car. But I would rather believe that now Dakota has more pressure thanks to being so closely matched with Maifield than he did before, where he was either straight up losing or then straight up winning.
All right. You have here in the notes that these two are still way ahead of the competition in longer mains. It seems to be. I mean, we did see Brandon Rose take a win at SIC. We saw Boots win at DNC, but once again, once again, we see these two completely dominating the rest of the field in this longer finals.
Yeah.
What is it going to take for these guys to get up there and just? I mean, we saw Brandon Rose do it, but what is it going to take for these guys to get up there and beat these guys?
It's a mentality change. It's 100% a mentality change. Because when was the last time Maifield TQ'd Nitro Buggy? Okay, this race. He TQ'd this race, yeah. But like, if you look back at the last 2 years, I bet like people like Mason Fuller probably has TQ'd more Nitro Buggy than Ryan Maifield. And that's 100% down to the fact that drivers like this already keep an eye on the final. Why is Robert Battle a 3-time European champion and a world champion, even after he probably has very rarely TQ'd any big event? Well, because he only focuses on the main. What was that
point? Yeah. What was that point that Robert was able to always come back somehow?
Right? Yeah, and that's because he only thinks, what's going to make my car best for 45 minutes? And there are drivers who think like this. For example, ONROAD. They back in the day, they used to run like really soft tires because they was faster with it. And they counted on the fact that he could build up such a gap by the end of the main, even though their tires would be gone, that he would be fine. But they have realized that they aren't that fast anymore. Like the competition has catched up. So they have transferred to similar tires. For example, at the Worlds, it was the opposite, whereas he probably had the worst tires compared to Ronnefolk, but he had them last for a longer time. And that's the things that these very, very top drivers do consistently. Like ONROAD, like Maifield, they know what they need at that, 10 minutes to go mark. Because even at the Truggy main, 15 minutes till the end, they was right. The top three was like within 5 to 6 seconds. And in the last 15 minutes, Maifield pulled up a 10 extra seconds on Seth and even more on Phend. And I think this is what separates the truly best from the really talented. And I think like we could talk a little bit about David Ronnefolk and lack of preparation and so on. But
we're going to talk about him in our winners loser segment.
Yeah. I think this is why he keeps consistently losing to drivers like ONROAD and drivers like even Canas these days. Because I don't feel he has ever had that really in his package, apart from obviously Adrian doing that for him. And I think like for Seth, for Fuller, like when we discussed with Fuller, he said, well, I'm going to go practice a few times and then I hope I'm good. That works when you're talented. That works for drivers like Ronnefolk or Fuller, but that doesn't work all the time. Whereas Maifield, I bet you, when he's going to DNC, 2 weeks prior, he knows that I am not sure about this setup thing on my car. I know I need to test this thing before I go to DNC. And I know if I go there, if the track's like this, I have to do this thing. If the track's like this, I have to do that thing. They mentally prepare for those events so much in advance. And they know, so like ONROAD, he'd have tires shortened. Like he'd cut the tire a piece off, glue it back in, and he'd run tires like that on some specific conditions. Like that level of preparation for specific conditions, that level of understanding of what you do running with, none of these guys do that. And it's natural. Like it's very difficult to do that. That's why we see Seth TQing here and there. That's why we see Hecker TQing rounds. Because for 5 minutes, it's easy to do. Because every time you're there at the track, most of these guys probably go there alone, or maybe they have their dad with them. I bet they don't run 20-minute runs. I bet they don't even run like, maybe some of these guys run like 10-minute qualifiers before the Worlds. But realistically, it's like they go there, run 5-minute runs, or even some of them probably just run laps on the track. And I think These type of preparation is the one that makes you from a Maifield to like let's say Brian Cavalieri at this point, or Seth Van Dalen, or someone like this.
All right, JQ, thoughts on that real quick, and then we're gonna move on. I agree with a lot of your points there, Max.
I agree with that.
You said this a few. Yeah, you said this.
Yeah,
on
Joseph
our
talked
last
about
podcast.
this plenty of times, and this is 100% it. Understanding what you're working with, and understanding that, hey, I know my car is set for 5 minutes, and after like 15, it's gonna get worse. Or I know my car is set so that after 7 minutes, it's gonna be better. Okay. Just knowing that is gonna take you far.
Let's talk about my favorite racer. What was his name? Jonah Wilson?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. How old is he?
16.
Okay. So that's a perfect example.
Young?
16, maybe 17 now. He's tall. He's a big, tall young man.
Okay. The only thing that is keeping him from being the next Ryan Maifield or whatever, someone like that. So professional, successful driver. His living is made by racing RC cars. He travels the world. He wins races, right? The only thing that is between that happening and him just being some guy racing in America, right? Is kind of what Max was saying there about how he approaches his racing, how he practices, how he prepares, how much he cares about that. That's it. Clearly, he has the talent. He can do it. So now he needs to choose if he wants to apply himself or not. That's it. End of story.
That's all you had to say. Okay. All right.
Let's go through the results quickly.
So Ryan Maifield. Yeah, Ryan Maifield, Dakota Phend, Seth Van Dalen, your top three. Another fourth for Rivkin at DNC, a fourth for him at this race. Mason Fuller, fifth after a 22 and a 7. I think that's a good run for him. He would want to, he wants to win this, but top 5 he'll take. Wiggins in the top 6, coming in, I think, at the bump from the B. Brandon Rose coming off that TQ run, unable to get in the top 5 run or top 3 or a win. 7th, 8th from Cole Ogden, probably one of the best results we've seen in a while from Cole Ogden, who, by the way, asked us to change. So I didn't ask us, but asked to have his HB Racing thing changed to Mugen. So I would assume that is over at HB, which many of us have thought. But I'm not saying that he has signed with Mugen, by the way. I'm just saying he's running a Mugen. Ryan Lutz would look for a better than the 9th. Cole Caston, a great 10th for him. Camden Lyon, 11th. Jonah Wilson in 12th. Little Bump in 13th. Taylor Sontag.
I have to say something about Little Bump. You can see from his time there, race time, he 29 minutes, 9 seconds. He was in 5th. He was in 4th for most of the main. Rivkin got by, and he was in a battle with Fuller, Wiggins, and Rose. And Ogden was up there too. Same, actually, also Cavalieri was at the bottom, but he was still in the same fight. But Fee was in 4th, 5th for most of the main, and right at the end, I don't know what happened, but something clearly broke or whatever it happened, but did not finish.
Taylor Sontag, 14th. Scroll it down, Max, so we can see the rest.
Yeah.
Joey Bordon, 15th. David Olsen, 16th. Ryan Cavalieri, 17th. And David Ronafalk, who did have a steering link screw come undone, which he was off the track for 2 minutes. But not the best PNB for him. One thing I wanted to say before we left was about the coverage was I really liked that fuel thing that Live RC done. Really like that. That was cool. Like where you can that was nice. And then that was awesome. I like that. All right. Anything to add before we move into our Tekno winners and losers? JQ, do you want to continue on with us, or do you want to let Max and I go? It's up to you. We're gonna do brand winners and driver winners. If you want to stay for that, you can. If not,
I still have a few minutes.
Oh, thank you. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. All right. Up next is the Tekno RC big winners and losers of the Psycho Nitro Blast 17 which happened this past weekend, as I currently scroll to find this.
Tekno RC. Tekno RC is a championship-winning manufacturer of high-performance A-scale, 10-scale, nitro, and electric RC buggies and trucks. With a worldwide dealer network, USA and Europe-based headquarters, comprehensive warranty program, and global race support, Tekno RC is excellence in RC. View the full lineup of Tekno RC race-proven vehicles by visiting www.teknorc.com.
That's right. Thank you to Tekno RC for their continued support. And congratulations to them taking the Nitro Truggy and Nitro Buggy win. Almost had the treble with Maifield and e-buggy, but was not able to pull it off. But still a great result for them. And you have them as the winners, man. Tekno brand winners, Max. Tekno and Associated. Team Associated, 2 brand winners.
Well, you could add J Concepts to that list as well, because when you look at the top 18 the main is now, but let's say we'll look at the top 10. In Nitro Buggy, 4 Teknos in top 10. In e-buggy, 3 Teknos in top 10. And in Truggy, can't even remember, but most of them. In the main, Camden Lime was the only HotRace driver. Lutz, aka Ogden and Cavalier with TZO, but I think every single other driver was running J Concepts. Oh, sorry, Tejas Lontak was running Pro Line, but yeah, Tekno and J Concepts really up there. If DNC went to S-Works, this race definitely went to Tekno. They had an awesome weekend. And Associated is up there because of Ripken seems to be finally getting back into the top 5 consistently, and their performance in e-buggy, as we spoke before.
Okay. And losers, you have well, hold on, before we go into further, JQ, did you have anything to add to the winner section of that?
Brand specific.
Jonah Wilson.
Drivers.
Oh.
All right, we're getting there. You love Jonah Wilson. I can see where you're at. Big losers, you have her, and I know the HP quorum is going to be even more upset. But HP Racing, one car.
Well, actually, I have to pull
I'm going to
back.
add a loser to that too. JQ is going to be triggered, but that's going to be fine. Go ahead.
Yeah. Actually, when I wrote this, I completely forgot about. Is it David Olsen? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Very good for him to make the mains. Very good.
Actually, making mains in all 3 classes at this event, granted it's 18 drivers, but still making the main in all 3 classes. Even after basically getting rid of your whole team, like David Olsen is most likely just the America section.
Top driver now.
Yeah, he's top. I mean, remember back in the day we were talking about this 4-way fight for the crown at HP. Well, David Olsen is still the only man standing, so I guess he was the top HP driver then. So even if I put HP as the losers, David Olsen making the whole mains, I think that's almost a win for them. I'd say that's almost a win.
You know what? And I'm going to add to, you said everyone but J Concepts. I'm going to add a loser to this, and JQ is going to be upset. Mayako. No top drivers there. No intermediate drivers in the final compared to last year where they had it. And the Tebow made the final last year as well. Didn't really do nothing. But yeah, Mayako went from having drivers in the intermediate main at least to compete with this, and having a decent presence at this race. And if we have to be honest, they were not there this year. Well, they were, but very small, in fact. So they have to go on as one of the big losers here if you want to talk about brands. JQ, do you have a rebuttal for me after that? We have to be honest, JQ.
It's PNB. It's just one race, and we didn't attend. Doesn't matter.
Well, you had people there, but even still, you wouldn't have really had anybody in America to compete with. But if we're going to be talking about HB, we have to be honest about Mayako. Mayako last year had a person in the main.
Yeah.
And fast people in the intermediate main. This year, nothing. All right, drivers. You have Maifield and Jonah Wilson. I
as
cannot
winners.
argue.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Drivers as winners. Mayfield and Jonah Wilson.
I forgot one, but 100% a guy who deserves to be on the winner list is Seth Van Dalen.
Yes.
First time I think ever he looked good over a full length main in a buggy class.
Well, he looked good at Wicked Weekend last year. He almost won.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, okay. Sorry, forgot about that. But still, he was in the fight the whole weekend. He was there fighting the whole main. Top 3, very, very good result. I completely forgot about Wicked Weekend, but the thing is, Van Dalen used to be the guy who would have these fluke results. Like he would finish in the top 3, then make the B the next race. But I think within the last, I'd say since Maifield joined Tekno, I think a lot of the Tekno drivers like Van Dalen, and I'd add like Bourdon and those guys to the list too. They have really stepped up.
Anything you want to say about the fish? Because that's all you care about. You are a Jonah Wilson fan. See, I told you after AMS, he made you a fan.
It was a joke, to be honest, but no, nothing to add.
All right,
we got the
losers. I just feel like smacking JQ right now. Rana Falk, I would say so. Not the best PNB. Well, first PNB forum, not the best. But yeah, that's what happens, right? You go over there, never really done it. It's not an easy race. So yeah, I would also, you know who I'd add to losers as well? We have to, even though he finished second, Phend. He has not won an 8-scale Nitro Buggy race yet this year.
Yeah, I'd say Phend he at least doesn't go home happy.
I would say Rose too. Yeah. Brandon Rose coming off a TQ, starting second, finishing seventh.
I think Rose is okay because
he's had quite a lot of top 5s over the last year. I think he would want to have a top 5, to be honest.
Cole Ogden.
Sure.
Cole Ogden
Cole Ogden was definitely a winner considering he didn't even make the main at like the last 2 or 3 races. So
what did he do now?
He
finished 8th.
Well, that's not a win.
It's win compared to finishing in the B.
Yeah, or starting in the C.
Yeah, yeah. So, but I don't know. I don't think Rose, because sure, if you consider like he won SIC, but I do think like 7th isn't like a total blowout.
It isn't a total blowout, but after TQ and run and started second, a top 3 is on your mind. All win.
Oh, of course. But he still finished second in e-buggy, and he wasn't like he was there the whole weekend. It was just like
I'm not disputing that. I'm not disputing that. But being as we have JQ here, and we did touch on this last week, what about Ogden, JQ? What do you think the future holds for him? Driving Mugen as a privateer. We've heard some rumors about he's only testing the cars till HB gets back on track. Changing his sponsor details out. Even his sponsor shout out his race report had no mention of HB. What do you think happens to a driver like like Cole, JQ?
I don't know. I think he can get a deal somewhere. Mm-hmm. If his head is in it, he can still do well, and also he has he's a marketable driver, I would say. So he can probably get a deal somewhere else if it's not HB.
Okay.
Yeah.
What would you think is the best fit?
Does he still say, yeah, what do you think would be the best fit for him? Good question.
I don't know.
X-Ray?
I don't know.
Yeah, because we talked about this
maybe they've been together before.
Yeah, and we thought like Mugen would be probably the best fit in terms of how much money would they have to invest to get a marketable driver driving the car. Because Cole is quite, well, I wouldn't say liked in the Southeast, but he's quite known in the Southeast, and he has a lot of influence in that area. He has run Mugen before. Mugen is a very marketable brand, and I think for Mugen they could get him quite cheap, and he would most likely make mains quite consistently with a Mugen. But we was thinking that he would like to go to X-Ray because David's at X-Ray, and I think X-Ray America is looking for a driver.
Yeah, that could be a good fit for both, actually.
You know who else is looking for a USA driver?
Who?
Mayako?
Yeah.
Do you think Cole would ever go to Mayako?
No, and we wouldn't sign him, and we aren't looking actually. So.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Things have changed since the last time we talked.
Why did you sign someone like Jonah Wilson?
Ooh, that would be great.
Actually, that's actually a good point. And the only reason why not right now would be that I'm jaded and I don't know him. It's a waste of time with most people to approach someone, support them for nothing. So I think that that's kind of a situation where if someone actually really wants to do something, then they are the one to reach out. They are the one to see the value somewhere and, go for it also. Yeah. Sometimes it happens that way.
Yeah, I do agree with that, because for the RC market for quite a while has worked in a way where the companies reach out to a driver, try to get him on board, and then like that. Or then in the lower levels, they kind of like 50% off guys and maybe even some full sponsorship guys reach out to manufacturers, send their resumes or whatever.
Okay.
But I think like it has to be more than that. It has to be like someone who is already doing well, seeing a future for themselves and then making that future happen. And I think that's what it has to go to for it to be sustainable for any party.
Okay. Well, we'll see. We'll see how things go. All right, that's enough talk about PNB. JQ, we are going to talk. Well, we're going to talk about the Elite RC Productions NNRC Cup. If you want to hang around, it is gaining some traction.
Actually, 1 point. 1 point.
Oh shucks!
I'll add to that. Okay, since we already spoke about it, so we have these old guys who are pros. They've been pros for a long time, and we've had all of these fast guys come up and then not quite make it. And this is kind of the closest we've been to a new generation coming in with fuller. I think they have travel paid. Maybe they have something paid. Fee long, good deals. Like it's kind of happening now. But I think that none of them have really made it, like fully, completely. And that's kind of the mindset thing, really, the attitude of, I really want to be number one, so I'm going to put in the work to be number one. One part of that is also to not follow, like I've spoken about this before, don't be a fanboy, be a champion. Because if you are constantly following the others, what setup are you running? Okay, I'm going to run the same. Who are your sponsors? I'm going to have the same sponsors. If you are always a fanboy, how are you going to beat those guys? Like sometimes it makes sense to forge your own path. So you look, what will be the best for me long term if I apply myself and I do this? And sometimes that's going to another brand, okay, and working with them and creating a space for yourself. And maybe you will end up somewhere where you are ahead of those other guys. Do you see what I mean? But most people lack the foresight or the confidence or whatever it takes to do that. But that is a legit way to sort of achieve champion status, instead of just being a fanboy forever.
Yeah, no, I think it's kind of like this 1 step back, 2 steps forward kind of thing. Because most of these guys, when Ronald Falk joined Mayako, the first year went perfectly. Everything kind of went how he wanted it to go. Yeah, he didn't win the Worlds, but everything else pretty much went like he wanted them to go. But then when things don't go your way, that's when it's tested, Because I bet you that if like things had gone different with him last year, this year would have been even better than 2022. You know, I don't see that being impossible. I think Maifield joined Tekno, won DNC straight away, had a very difficult summer, and he's pretty much at that point where he left off with Mugen. Making more money, definitely number one name of the brand. He can probably get anything done to the car he wants to. He's forged his path at a late point in his career. I think he'll be set with Tekno for a long time if he keeps doing like this. Who else would be? In some sense, Booch could be a driver like this with S-Works leaving from Kyosho, forging his own path. But I'd say he did that because he was forced to, not so much that he did that of his own will.
Well, one example from back in the day would be Robert, for example. Robert joined Hobao and Hobao wasn't really anything at the time. And he got a good deal, good support, and stuck with it, and then became European champion with Hobao. And he sort of became, at one point, he was the best guy first. Then they suddenly had a lot of guys, and then guys left. But he stuck with it, and that was something where Hobao was kind of nothing when he joined, right? He could have been the guy to just, run a Mugen or whatever, but he would never have got that level of attention and support with Mugen because they were already established. They had all these European champions, world champions, and all of that. He would have been a fanboy. He went to Hobao, where he became the young rising star number one, right? And so that would be a good example of because he put in the work and got the results in the right environment, in the right place, he built a successful career off that. And I'm not sure if the same thing could have happened if he had just been with Mugen. Maybe he would have.
Right, he had to go through some. He had to go through some. What's the word I'm looking for? Turmoil. Not an easy road. He didn't take the easy road.
I don't know that it was any harder. It was just that mindset of like, I'll go here and I can get paid. I can go to all these races and I'm going to make it work. Where maybe with Mugen, he has, setups handed down. Everything is fine. The car is capable, but you don't get good enough support, good enough deals to progress,
Yeah, I get what you mean.
Yeah.
You just go with Mugen just because it's the brand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a cool thing to do. All right. Good stuff. Good stuff. Anyway, I just want to reiterate, I enjoyed what I did watch of PNB. I enjoyed the coverage. I enjoyed the coverage by both Live RC and Elite RC production. It was good. I think it was great. We had some great racing, and congratulations to Tekno RC, Nitro Buggy, and Nitro Truggy, and well done to our driver, Mason Fuller, taking that e-buggy win. Very good to him. Very good. All right. So we are going to get into a little bit of NNRC Cup real fast. JQ, do you want to join us for our series talk here? We're not going to be on it too long. If this is going to be your time to bow out, you can bow out now. If not, you can hang out with us for a little bit longer.
I don't know. I can bow out. I'm almost done.
All right.
With what I'm doing, actually. Then.
Okay, so we'll see you later. Thank you, JQ, for your time, and you have a good weekend.
Okay, you too. See you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, let's get back down to real quick, Max. NNRC Cup. So the NNRC Cup starting to get a little bit of traction. This is the third race for the pro class and second race for the intermediate class. But let's talk about it real quick. Still going into the lead in this. We talk about him not taking any wins, but if this was a point series and the points were based on this, Dakota Phend comes out of PNB with 67 points and an 8-point lead over second, which is Brandon Rose. So those of you who don't know what the NNRC Cup is, basically we're taking existing races and making a virtual series. The races in the pro class include SIC, DNC, PNB, Silver State, Nationals, Wicked Weekend, AMS, and we're looking at the world. So it'd be 8 And I think we're either going to do 2 drops or 1 drop for the progress. So it's best 6 out of 8.
I think should be not the world.
So. Okay, so Max doesn't want to do world, so it's going to be 7 races and best 5 out of 7. Then do we give these guys 2 drops or 1 drop? I think 1 drop. One drop. 1 drop's fair. But moving up with the win at PNB is given Maifield up into 3rd. He has a 26, a 13, and a 9. His result at DNC really hurt him. Mason Fuller now in 4th, Ryan Lutz in 5th, Rivkin in 6th, Wiggins 7th, Bornhorst, who missed out this race, so this will be his throwout race, is in the points lead at 33. Camden Lime, David Ronafalk, who did not come to the SIC, but did attend DNC and is attending Silver State. So it's going to be long. It's going to be interesting to see how long it takes for Ronafalk to filter out of this. Elliot Boots 11th, Little Bump 12th, Cole Caston 13th, Cole Ogden 14th, Stephen Dalen 15th. If you guys want to see more of these drivers who are in this, you can go to the NNRC Facebook page. I am doing some write-ups about this. Max, any pointers you want to notice about this before we go on?
Tyler Jones, kind of a sleeper because he's missed 2 races now, one due to illness and one due to not going.
He's kind of out of it now, I'd say.
Yeah, if we have just 1 drop, I think he's out. Which I think 1 drop is most reasonable. Van Dalen, kind of a similar story, really tough DNC.
Yes. And just to let people know that we only scored a top 22 out of each race, old Supercross style scoring. Also want to say a big thank you to the American Top 25 for all their help with doing the points. Max, let's have a look at intermediate because the Chuck Iceberg Slim Berg still maintains. Oh, that's Sportsman. So we're gonna just bring it up real quick. Yeah, it's hard to see. Chuck Berg, who has attended SIC, which he won, and then I think he finished 6th at PNB. He stays in the points lead for that's the No Pro RC crew up there. He does beautiful 10-minute stops. Ryan Daze, who stays in 2nd. Chris Morant. Congratulations, Chris Morant. He took the win at this, and I know he wanted this. He got himself a big, giant. By the way, did you see the trophies at PNB?
Oh yeah, they were amazing.
They were awesome. By the way, I forgot to talk about that. Amazing trophies made all out of metal. They've had them for the last few years. Chris Morant takes that win after a very disappointing SIC for him. Mike Legee, who actually has TQ'd SIC and PNB, but has not been able to change that into a win in either of them. At Southeast Star with Don Elliott in 5th. Cody Ingram didn't make this race. Jimmy Fishback, who made the trip over from SoCal. Dylan Raposo made the trip down from Canada to be a part of this. He finished 2nd behind Fishback. Oh, no. He finished 3rd behind Fishback. I think Fishback came 2nd. Garrett Martin, Jake Stolsing didn't make the trip. Wyatt Lawson, Will McIver, Dalton Balboa, Emerson Sturgeon, and Trent Walker. So that's look at that. LW4 gets on there. He's in 22nd in the overall because he did not come to SIC. So well done, LW4. And over to Sportsman, we see Weston Wilson.
I have to make a little bit of a announcement on this. Should we actually do a Sportsman series?
Oh yeah, so we because you hate Sportsman, right?
Let's just talk about this for a second.
Why did you take the Sportsman scoring?
Because we have to do this disclaimer. So I was thinking because
you have to do the disclaimer for yourself, not for me.
I think it's a bit odd how people kind of misunderstand because I think like there was a comment that was like, why are we doing Sportsman? Obviously Keenan loves 3 classes. Keenan loves everything. He's fine with it. But I do, in some sense, I do agree that Sportsman series is kind of against the spirit of not having Sportsman anymore. Because it kind of encourages people to stay in Sportsman because of the fact that if you win the series, you can say to your friends that I won the NNRC Cup. I bet someone's going to say that in their race resume. Yeah, I bet there are going to be drivers who say that this result in the NNRC Cup proves my over a year performance in the race resume. So in a sense, I do think it's counterintuitive to do an NNRC Cup for Sportsman.
I disagree.
That being said, I do think it adds value to these people, and it's probably good to have that. But in the long run, we want to get rid of Sportsman because I do not see.
You want to get rid of Sportsman. Stop saying we. Let's disconnect.
Why? Okay. Why do you not want to get rid of Sportsman?
Because it's just something it's not going anywhere. I'm accepted it. I'm enjoying it. It's competitive. If you look at the points, it's probably the closest point spread that we have. And guess what? I'm just over fighting it. So you speak for Maximus Mortimus.
I think you just have given up. Because the thing is, I have nothing against Sportsman drivers. I have nothing against those people who run Sportsman from the beginning. That's completely fine. But I do think the separation between Sportsman and intermediate is almost non-existent. Like how do you separate a Sportsman driver?
Well, in the top echelons, I would say so. Well, look, so before we go on any further, we're idiots that want to prove the whole point.
You're an idiot.
No. Okay. We are idiots.
Speak for yourself here.
The amount of time and effort we're putting into the NNRC Cup, right, is solely for entertainment purposes.
Yeah.
And it's also just to prove a point, really. And the point is that it's exciting to follow racing over a series of events. I hope people enjoy it. We're starting to see people share it and say, oh, I'm fourth in this area. I'm fourth here.
Yeah.
That's great. That's awesome because then it gives people, after being at the Florida RC Championship, seeing how people are passionate about the points and all this type of stuff. It's great. And that is the whole point because I'm tired of hearing we need to have a point series. I agree. We need to have a point series to determine a champion. Most national most national champions in Europe are through a series of races, right? 5 points. Not all, but a lot of them are. Now, I do it because I geek out on this stuff. I want to talk about it. And I think it gives people some fun and it gives people it's fun, right? And that's why I like it. So I have no problem with Sportsman. Put it back up there, you Sportsman hater.
I will finish on because I'm not like we absolutely shouldn't have this. I do like when I saw the comment, I was like, oh, someone's just complaining for no reason. But I do think there is a point because we should actively be against making winning Sportsman a thing, right? Like it's not a thing that you want people to run. Sportsman should be a class where you run a maximum of year in. It shouldn't be a class you run years in, right? Do we agree on that one?
I would agree that you should be trying to at least get up to intermediate. I think that 95% of the people that race RC cars, intermediate's where they belong.
Exactly. And I think this is the sole issue. Oh, now you're bringing it up yourself so you can show it?
Yes, because I want to talk about it. And I don't want to go on too long about it either, Maxie.
I can bring it up.
I got it. Can
you zoom in? Because Facebook doesn't allow you to zoom in all the way.
It keeps dropping it. Hold on. You get it.
I have it here, dude. So, yeah, just before Keenan starts going through the names, there's two arguments on this. One is everyone deserves to race on their own level. That's one argument. The other argument is there shouldn't be differentiation on Sportsman and intermediate, and those drivers who have more than like 50% sponsorship and are realistically trying to make themselves a name should be running at the bottom of pro. And those people who are kind of coming up the rank should run intermediate. Like, I do think people like in pro, essentially there should always be just A and B main. Like below that, apart from something like DNC, there really isn't enough drivers where you can justify more. But I don't see Sportsman like you just run everyone in one class. That's my take on it.
Right.
We've talked about this.
But yes, but guess what? In the Sportsman class, we have a Weston Wilson, who's the father of Jonah Wilson, who's in front, 35. Josh Fine, 34. Jacob Blasco, 33. Alex Cummins, 31. So our top 4 are separated by 4 points. So it's actually probably the closest class. Ronald Gimble, who won SIC, didn't attend this weekend. Justin Andres, he did attend, but I have to have the points spread up on me. Steve Pataglia, who actually won this. And then Christopher Craig, Mike Tudor. Ethan Voorhees came second, if I'm not mistaken. John could, oh boy, I'm not even going to try that one.
21 points is third.
Okay, sorry, he got third. I think Josh Fine came second. Yes. So yeah, I get your point.
Because I don't like the reason why I don't think having Sportsman is a good idea is because I don't want anyone to not go into intermediate because they want to sandbag and win in Sportsman.
You're never gonna stop sandbagging, and that was another big topic. Let's not talk about sandbagging. I am so sick of it.
Yeah,
I'm so sick of
it. Every time someone complains about sandbagging, make a comment saying, "Let's just have one class, no intermediate Sportsman, just non-pro or open. You have pro and open, okay? Just that. Every time you think someone's sandbagging, make a comment saying we should have only pro and open, okay?"
Anyway, congratulations. That's a topic we've beat to death as a dead horse. NNRC Cup, man, it's for fun. We like that you guys are taking it seriously. Not seriously, but seeing some enjoyment in it. We are thinking about doing the West Coast thing, but honestly, we need somebody to help us out with that. Max is busy. I'm busy. We are, the Southeast is very easy for me because I know that most of these people go into these races. We are looking to do the West Coast thing, and I will tell you that if you're going to help out, shoot us a message and help us out because Elite RC is sponsoring this. They're doing the graphics for us. Danny Paz is doing the graphics. So work and effort is going into this. And we hope that you guys enjoy it and take and have some pride in it because we have some pride in it. And you know what? The beautiful thing about a series is it gives you something to talk about when you go call that race the next time. So that's what I like to do. But well done, Chuck Berg, Ryan Daze, and Max is writing them up now. So I'm waiting for you to finish writing them up.
Chris Moran.
Chris Morant, they are now your top 3. Well done, Chris Morant. I was very happy for Chris Morant to win that. And well done to Weston Wilson, Josh Fine, and Jacob Lasco. I hope you guys continue. Next up for the NNRC Cup, as you can see down below, is the North Georgia Shootout. I will be there. And that brings us to our second to last segment, which is the SideWinder Fuel upcoming races. Morgan Fuel has been collaborating with many of the world's top drivers for over 35 years. This has enabled us to test our fuels in many of the most challenging situations and take the development of competition fuels to the next level. The result is SideWinder, the market's most powerful racing fuel. This fuel has been track tested and proven by national and world champions such as Ryan Cavallari, Ryan Maifield, Greg Degani, Mark Pavidis, and many more. Their current top driver is the one, the only Little Bump. These drivers appreciate that SideWinder is blended perfectly for the high performance needs of competitive racing. Don't let victory slip through your fingers. Purchase SideWinder today. So upcoming races are this weekend is Florida RC Championships at Mills Pond. I was actually supposed to be flying out today. I was supposed to be there today, but I had to change my ticket because then we was also supposed to do the 10 scale off-road dirt nationals at Beach RC. Good luck to everybody at FRCC this weekend. I wish I was there. Was going to be there, but we kind of got screwed over and we lost the 10 scale off-road dirt nationals. Maybe that's a story for a different time. We were all planned and had sponsors and all that stuff ready to go do it, and it was taken from us. But that's coming up. Good luck to everybody. Beach RC at the off-road dirt nationals. This is because Raw has off-road dirt nationals and off-road carpet nationals. That same weekend we have the Florida RC Championships at Mills Point in Fort Lauderdale. Which is the first FRCC I went to last year, because last year I did FRCC, North Georgia Shootout, and then I went over to Portugal after that. We have Wally's race coming up on that same weekend at the Dirt Paris, which is the Nitro RC Supercross. I must admit, he has done a great job of promoting it. I like the graphics. Mayfield's going, and he has a new format. He was. I can't remember how the format goes. He was supposed to tell me about it. Probably missed it somewhere along the line. Then we have the North Georgia Shootout, which I attended last year. Mark Moon's race up in Tiger, Georgia. Another race I enjoy. Beautiful facility, beautiful area. Looking forward to that. Then we have the Florida RC Championships are actually in May, Max. So that's wrong. I'm going to that. That's May 1st, and it's going to be at Coral Springs. So we had that confused. But the other big race happening that weekend is the Asian Buggy Championships round number 2 Philippine Masters. Now, this is a race I really want to go to. Max, tell your girlfriend we're almost done. We're almost done. It's being held April 18th to 21st. The Circular Verde in Manila, Philippines. We see David Ongaro is going, Ryan Lutz is going, McBride's going, Bernard Zach's going, Pavitas is going, and now driving an S-Rex car, the man, the myth, the legend, the Dark Jedi of RC himself at Sushi Hara will be there. So this race becoming very popular. I want to make it next year, hopefully. And then, of course, we have Silver State coming up as well, first weekend of May, which will be the big American race. I'll be at the FRCC race. And then we have the Nationals coming up in June, as well as the Italian race, which I'm trying to get to, which should be pretty big in Europe as well. So that's our upcoming races. Thank you to SideWinder for all their support. If you guys wish to get some SideWinder fuel, let me know, and I will put you in contact with that. Up next is our HotRace, Hot Picks, and Hot Topics. Thank you to HotRace for all the continued support. I know Nicola is currently at the 12 scale Euros, which is happening as we speak, covered by RC Racing TV. So thank you, Nicola, for all your support. Check out HotRace for all your tire needs and body needs. HotRace has been a big supporter of the podcast. So, Max, real quick, the hot potato topic coming out of PNB was this. It's been taken down by Katie Roxbury, who is the girlfriend and pit lady of Jared the Wizard Riggins, says, "I'd like not to die in pit lane because of idiots full sending the entrance. Someone's life is not worth risking the extra 0.2 of a second, period. Under no circumstances, not okay. You're a professional, act like it." Now, we saw this also happen at a race that I was at where the guy fully jumped, but he said his throttle got stuck open. She's right.
Yeah.
But hold on. But then Dakota Phend.
Yeah, let's just talk about this first, because I don't
remember seeing this. I don't think I saw this.
Yeah, I didn't see this specific incident, but I 100% agree. Like, when I went to America for the first time and I look at the pit lane, like, people are like absolutely sending it in. I've seen multiple times people jumping off the pit lane, like jumping in and not hitting it. And I do think, like, in Europe, we always have this prevention. We have like the bar,
or something to slow you down going up there, like bumps or something like that. Now, they have these on other tracks too, or maybe a side where you turn. The tracks have this, but I mean, some of them don't. So a bar would solve this. But Dakota Phend chimed in and says, "The first rule of pit lane is if you're pitting, then stand back against the wall. Now you instantly have 5 feet between you and the cars. Being an experienced pit person, that should come second nature. I came in at 10 minutes after everyone else pitted, so no one should have been standing next to the pit lane besides my guy." Good point. If you want to limit pit entry speed, then you also need to limit pit exit speed. Otherwise, drivers pitting at the beginning have a large advantage. There was no bar on top of the pit lane, nothing to slow you down before entering, or even a piece of tape laid down that said you can't jump past. The only time something was said was after someone went and complained, and then the only thing said was don't jump into pit lane. That means no tires are allowed to off the ground when entering. I'm pretty positive everyone in the main had tires off the ground. What is unprofessional is writing this post and trying to yell at the pit guy that isn't even driving the car. You had multiple opportunities to come and have a conversation with me. If you felt I was entering too fast, you chose not to and make a post instead to cause drama and call me an idiot. I even walked up and said bye to you guys and not a word. I was in control the whole time from entrance to exit and have been doing this for quite a while professionally. If you're not aware, I don't recall hitting a pit person yet. Woo! Okay. Wow, Dakota Phend went in hard.
I have to say to Dakota, he makes only one good point. It's a very good point, but there's only one of those, and that's the fact that there was no thing to prevent from someone going in too fast or going out too fast. And I think that's the root of the issue. If you don't actively try to limit the pit speed, someone is always trying to find the limit. You can say you can't come in too fast. Well, someone is always trying to come in a little bit faster, you never get rid of it. I don't know why, because if Katie just made this post and I saw it, I would have been like, okay, I know people do this. Everyone fucking does this, like in America, because that's what you kind of have to do. I didn't know it was about Dakota until he kind of outed himself that it was him. And I don't think
either.
I didn't think it was only about Dakota. Probably something happened where Katie was there and then Dakota like jumped in. But yeah, it's like, yeah, I don't know why he went on this. And I do have to say that this argument that I was in control the whole time from entrance to exit and have been doing this for quite a while, sure, whatever you say, but for sure, I'm very positive that Dakota Phend doesn't have his car in control 100% of the time. And I'm quite certain there aren't many drivers who absolutely do that. So this argument that, yeah, you had it in control, sure. But that doesn't prevent there being a little bit of a rock going into pit lane and you shoot into a head of a mechanic.
It's dangerous. We got to stop it. But I agree with you 100%.
Yeah.
But
okay.
With that being said, one thing about Facebook, it is eternally savage. And after this,
people brought this up.
People took a picture of this, and this is actually, which was very famous. A very famous pit stop by Katie Roxbury and Jared Wiggins, and I believe this is at AMS. I want to say this looks like AMS. It might be.
This might be Southern Nats or.
No, it's not Southern Nats. It might be AMS.
Sorry, yeah. I think it's
AMS. I think it's AMS. All right,
it's
but here's
AMS,
this.
This is the year of the big quad, right?
So, no, that's not it. This is it. Woo! Now, this is. I must admit, this is not like flying at somebody's head, but this is her boyfriend, Jared Wiggins, coming in, and it was a beautiful pit stop by her. By the way, there was nobody. So, I mean, we have points. There's really nobody close to pit lane. Okay. Nobody that could have been hit there.
There was, but that wasn't. I've seen.
Let's see it again. That's actually. Let's see. Woo,
I think that's quite a tame jump. Yeah, but
yes, but to her credit, she backed this up and said that she talked to Jared about it and she didn't want to happen. It was bad and whatnot. But
yeah, this video was from a few years ago.
Yeah, a few years ago.
They said that they consciously had made the choice to not jump.
Well, this can be prevented. We need to put bars on top of. Need to put bars going out, and we need to put bars coming in. It's simple to slow these cars down. I'm pretty sure it's going to happen in next race. And that's going to solve all of this. Because if a guy smacks his car on the top, he's just going to make accident. If he tries to jump off the side of the front, he's going to have to say, just put bars on it. Simple. She's not wrong at all. And Dakota Phend has some points. I don't feel like getting into that whole discussion, but I think he has some points. Yeah. But it can be all settled with a piece of metal.
Yeah, I think this whole argument was silly because don't hate the player, hate the game. And also by Dakota chiming in, like he could have
outed himself.
He could have said that he could have posted that we are kind of required to do this because that's the only way you can do this. Like everyone's jumping in. Like even Katie said on a follow-up comment that he wasn't the only one. Many people was doing it.
Right.
But Dakota could have said that we are forced to do this because everyone's doing it. So you cannot give up that half a second or a second.
I understand that point too, but it's pretty simple. A piece of welded metal. Two pieces of welded metal, one on the entrance, one on the end, resolves all of this problem. Yeah. If you wanna go even deeper, you can probably put some speed bumps coming up there. You know?
No, but I don't. Speed bumps are bad because that unsettles.
Oh yeah, I remember what happened to you in speed bumps. Was it at the Euros at IBC?
Euros.
He was like boop, 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 like, oh yeah, here comes Max Morgan for fuel. Boop.
Yeah, I absolutely hate speed bumps. There's two good ways. One is a chicane before the entrance of the pit, if the track allows it, and the other one is bars. You put it on the top on the going in, and then on the end.
Yeah, bars
going up.
Bars eliminates even. So if you hit it, it's going to stop the car, right?
And
so,
it's also like you will catch repeat violators, because if you hit the bar, you're out of the race, because it breaks your car immediately. So if someone does it, it kind of solves the issue all on its own.
Absolutely.
Like,
let us know what you guys think in the comments. I do agree with Katie there. I do agree with her.
Yeah.
All right. Our hot picks from last week. I see Buggy. I had to stop you from saying that too on your written reports too.
Yeah.
I picked for Nitro Buggy, Runafalk, Fuller, Phend. You picked Phend, Runafalk, Rose. I beat you. No, we're equal. Because you picked Phend to win. I picked Phend to come third, and he came second.
Yeah,
we lost.
Even on, and Fuller was nowhere to be seen. Rose was nowhere to be seen. Runafalk was dead last.
Yeah, we lost that.
On Nitro Buggy, we was absolutely off.
He was shite.
Proper
shite. E-Buggy, though. Lefty wins.
Yeah, you picked Fuller for the win. Yeah,
I did. I picked Fuller, Maifield, Runafalk. So I was wrong with my top three. You picked Maifield, Fuller, Phend. You was wrong all around.
Yeah.
Admit that you was wrong, Max. Right now.
I only got one driver in each class right in top three.
Yeah, but I got a win. I got a win.
Yeah, win is
everything.
Yeah. So I think you won in any way you look at it. You won. So.
I won.
I'm not doing great this year.
You know what we also didn't do? We did another 3-hour podcast. So
yeah, fuck.
We were supposed to be short. Your girlfriend didn't stop us in time. I saw I was looking.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I think it's because JQ joined in. If he hadn't joined,
that's right. That's right. Anyway, it was a good chat with you, good catch up with you. I greatly appreciate your time, and it was a great talking with that. Well done to everybody at PNB. It was a good show. Shout out to the Race Time guys for all their hard work as well. Shout out to my boys at Elite RC for all their hard work, and shout out to Live RC who did a good job of covering it. Like, they really went good. They did a good job. I give them
I have
a lot of credit.
Like last time Joseph said, stay in your lane, whatever. If it wasn't for Elite RC, if it wasn't for Mod, we would have never, ever seen this level of coverage from Live RC. Because they have competition, they have had to turn it up. And I have to say, it was great. They still have to fix the starts, because every time now, you barely catch the start.
I know, I did notice that. I did notice that.
That's annoying, because you're like, wait, like the start's happening, and then like...
And you know what?
But yeah, everything
and
else
you know what?
Really good.
No matter how jealous JQ gets about us, about the podcast doing some good things, I still think what we said about HB the week before was definitely something that helped out.
I mean, they would.
I'm not saying it was fully 100%, but maybe we sped that response up a little bit.
I think it would not have come out during April, that post or email, if we hadn't talked about it.
JQ just can't give credit where credit is due. He can only credit one person, that's himself. All right. So I want to say thank you to everybody for all the support. Shout out to all my FRCC and Floridian RC racers. Have fun at Mills Pond. It looks beautiful there. I wish I was there. Good luck to Brent and Beach RC and Lucas and everybody at the 10 scale national next weekend. I wish I was there too. Well, I'm not, unfortunately. And shout out to everybody, NNRC squad around the world. Thank you to another time, a big thank you to the Figueiredo family, Jose and Joao, for all their support going to Portugal. I know it kind of sucked that IBC rained out, but I still had a lot of fun. They treated me well. I love Portugal. I can't wait to go back. If you guys think that, I know they're gonna put IBC in May now. If you guys are thinking about going to IBC, you should check it out. And I want to just say thank you to them, man. I had a lot of fun. I ate a lot of food, and I love Portugal. I really do. Good luck to everybody racing this weekend. Wherever you're racing, have safe travels. Be safe. Have fun. Remember, be an RC ambassador. Shout out to the NNRC squad around the world. We greatly appreciate your support. Shout out to all the patrons and YouTube members. You guys will get early release of the Ty Testman podcast, which I'm probably gonna try to get up tomorrow now because it's late. And we thank you guys for support. If you wish to become a patron or YouTube member, links for that on the written description of this podcast. Remember, supporting the sponsors, showing the sponsors some love, shows the podcast some love. We have links, affiliate links, all that good stuff, coupon codes, and just links for these companies in the written description of this podcast. They are Invisible Speed, Hitec RC, CorsaTec USA, SideWinder Fuel, Mayago, Beach RC, Tekno RC, Clinic RC, Stacked RC, Racecraft USA, RC Box Hub, Call RC, the Elite RC Productions, Florida RC Championships, RC Body Armor, SJ Racing Builds, House of RC, RCGP, shout out to our drivers, David Ronafalk, Robert Battier, Alexander Hagback, Matty G, Pekko Evenin, Yuna Hotniden, and Mason Fuller, Yana Hotnan, and the Killick, Mason Fuller, and I guess I don't know, we got Killick brothers maybe. We'll see. We got to get an official shirt picture with them. I took them some shirts. Max, thank you for your time. Thank you to those companies for all their support as well. We greatly appreciate it. I'll be seeing you very shortly. We're going to record some podcasts next week. We have you say we have a lot of shit to catch up on, so I'm expecting a lot of science mode and watermelon seed kumquats next week.
I think we should do a live at some point too. I'd really like to,
you know what? We should do that next week.
Yeah, because we haven't done like questions with people.
You know what?
Or anything.
Let's do that, but you're gonna have to stay up late because we're gonna have to. We're gonna have to do it like around 4, which will be. And what time is it over there now? It's
20 to 11.
Yeah, I think like 11 o'clock your time, which will be 4 o'clock East Coast time. Your girlfriend's not gonna be happy. We'll see. We'll get the European. Maybe we'll do it early. We'll get the European. I don't know. That's the problem. You're 7 hours ahead. You know what? 6. Yeah, 6, 7, 6. I can't remember. 7. I don't know. Hold on. It's 3:40 here. Math is not my strong point. You know what? It was fun. Congratulations to everybody. Good luck, everybody, this weekend. And we will be back. I'm looking forward to getting up to see everybody at North Georgia Shootout in 2 weeks' time and being up in the beautiful mountains of Georgia. I was just in the beautiful mountains of Portugal. Now I'm going up to the beautiful mountains of Georgia, which I can't wait. Nitro. Oh, and don't forget, Dakota Slideways. Don't check it out. It's the Midwest Nationals coming up in July. Check out their video here. With that said, Nitro's the glory. E-Buggy pays the bills. Lefty and Max were out. See you later, Max.